Hola gente de YouTube, espero que estén bien. Disculpen si el directo se cerró de la nada, es que literalmente el directo mío se me cayó porque parece que como se acerca el día de pago de impuestos del internet, me lo ponen jodido y me lo cortan de poco a poco, como si hiciera un grifo de agua poco a poco y el agua llega a poco. Eso creo, porque no es la play mía, pero bueno. Lo estaba viendo el directo, que ya volvió directo y parece que no perdí casi nada, solamente una pequeña conversación con el detective, que llegó un telegrama diciendo que tiene que volver a París, pero a él le da igual, bota el telegrama y entonces empezamos a hablar con él. Y entonces el detective cree que el cuervo, el heredero del cuervo, que creemos que es un imitador, en realidad es el verdadero cuervo, y él cree que le disparó a alguien equivocado. Vamos a ver.
But what do you mean by that?
Let us assume just for a moment that the person I shot and who fell from the roof was not the Raven, who would have cared enough to uncover the truth. The chief of police, the politicians? No. They wanted to revel in a successful manhunt, and it was the best thing that could have happened to the Raven. The search for him was over. He had no reason to fear me anymore. I had so many medals afterwards that he could hear them jingling kilometers away.
And now he's back? And you're the only one who can stop him? Does that sound probable to you?
The feathers, the letters, Nico. No one outside the police force knew that the Raven used to call me that in his letters.
Policemen gossip, and there are plenty of forgers. You can't seriously intend to stake your reputation on such weak evidence.
My reputation rests on something that I probably did not do. I have to find out who's behind all this.
Ok, interesante. A ver. Entonces, el detective cree que puede ser que el cuervo que él mató no lo mató, sino que se ocultó aprovechando que él supuestamente lo mató y ahora vuelve por venganza, por la carta que vimos, cómo le habla. Pero como dijo nuestro personaje, puede ser que en la policía alguien, o puede ser que creo, y si el imitador o el heredero del cuervo es un policía que sabe lo de la relación de Nico y el cuervo original.
Let's review. One of the two most valuable jewels in the world was stolen. Obviously, the second one will be next. And you suspect a legendary burglar who's been dead for 5 years.
Go on.
The second jewel is about to be put on board over there, in a safe that requires 3 keys. Our thief may already have the first key, the archaeologist's key from the train. We don't know anything about the status of the second key, which was meant to be air freighted to Cairo.
We have to assume that he already has it.
Therefore, there's just one key left. The Baroness's.
Correct.
So, you'll need my eyes on board.
Look, you can keep your eyes open for me here on the wharf. I'd be most grateful. But when this ship sets sail, you will not, I repeat, not be on board.
But, Inspector...
We're dealing with a dangerous man, and I will pursue him regardless of the consequences. I won't let you get mixed up in this affair.
It's still my decision.
No, it's not. It's mine, and I've already made it.
Sí,
Good day,
sí.
Constable Zellner.
¿Qué? Ay, quería darle otro comentario. A ver, él sigue siendo un terco, pero bueno. Se cree que la última llave que va a robar es la de la baronesa, pero... Claro, es que no hay ninguna prueba directa de que él pudo haber robado la llave de la baronesa. Solo sabemos que el bolso de la baronesa fue robado, pero no sabemos si ahí estaba la llave. Tendría una buena razón el cuerpo para robarlo, pero sabemos que el violinista, el compartimiento cerrado, la baronesa, el agente Robert, el personaje, ¿por qué no sale? La sombra en el tren. Según Legrand, la caja fuerte que contiene el ojo del esfinge cuenta con 3 cerraduras: el profesor Lucian, la baronesa von Tiber y el doctor Montag, director del museo. Le estoy leyendo la otra llave. de Egipto, el Cairo. Tienen una llave cada uno. Debemos asumir que el cuervo ya logró copiar la llave del profesor. Claro, tiene sentido, por eso su habitación estaba cerrada. Es posible que también haya copiado la del director, porque no está en nuestro alcance. En conclusión, pero es que no sabemos si copió la de la baronesa. Tendría sentido que iba a robarlo, porque como tiene las 3 llaves, puede robarla en el barco, nadie se da cuenta. Salto ya. La sombra del tren. Más bien una figura temblorosa en el tren. ¿Sería el nuevo cuervo? Alguien debió dejar la carta en la caja fuerte. Eso está claro, pero el cuervo pagaba a secuaces en sus buenos tiempos. Puede que no sea el cuervo, pero son secuaces. A lo mejor el nuevo cuervo hace lo propio. La sombra perdió su pasaje para el crucero por el Mediterráneo. Su destino final, el Cairo. Sospecho quién más irá a bordo. El que puso la bomba fue el mismo que nuestro agente se topó con él. Y como tenía ropa de encargado, pensaba que era el encargado. Antiguo cuervo, nuevo cuervo. Aquí la sospecha de que puede ser él. Solución, la bomba. Qué linda. A ver. Pero no tengo información del violinista. Ahora, ¿qué hacemos? Porque nos está diciendo que no podemos irnos. Y solo tenemos la cartera. Empezamos de nuevo aquí en este nuevo lugar. Y bueno. Qué pena que no se pueda correr en este juego. Mucha aventura gráfica tú puedes correr. Ahí está la caja fuerte. Y este vehículo será de la escritora. A ver. Mira la.
In my younger years, I might have considered abseiling from the crane down to the ship, but those days are long past.
No, ya está algo viejito. Y la pastilla del corazón. Ir al coche de la joven, a ver. Ok. Nuevo personaje. Mirar el descopetado. Vamos a mirar el descopetado primero.
Fine car, but nothing compared to the young lady who owns it.
Oh, Selen. Ah. Tiene tus añitos, pero...
Amazing how much luggage there is for so few passengers, and I'd guess that 3/4 of it belongs to the women.
Y el resto es maquillaje. Volver.
Who could she be? An actress? A millionaire's daughter? She's certainly attracting a lot of attention.
Imagínate que sea el cuervo.
I'll take an inconspicuous look up close.
Miradito. Ay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting anyone to be crawling around on the ground in front of my door.
Don't worry about it, miss. No harm done.
That's good to hear, Mr.
Zellner. Anton Jakob Zellner.
Zellner. Wow, pero qué alta. ¿Número de mujer? Bueno, ya me presenté, así que tengo que exigir el nombre.
May I ask your name?
Patricia Mayers.
Are you American?
I am. Could you help me, please?
Certainly.
Ajá. Ella va al barco.
Are you on your way to Egypt?
Yes.
Are you on holiday?
My father works for a railroad company there.
And is rebuilding the country after the war. Wonderful.
Yes. Wonderful.
Okay.
One more.
Okay.
You're lucky to have a father who takes you to so many interesting places.
Oh, yes. Lucky me.
Aren't you interested in Egypt? The pyramids, the history.
I would have been more interested in a father who doesn't travel 300 days a year.
Uy.
I'm sure your father regrets that he can't always be with you.
No doubt. And I'm sure he always wanted the best for me. But that doesn't stop him from thinking only about himself far too often.
Bueno.
Bring my luggage on board, please.
Excuse me?
It was a pleasure meeting you, Constable Zona.
Impertinent.
Pero tenemos la oportunidad de subir al barco. ¿Eh? Una denucada, sí.
I'll be marching up this gangway today, no matter what. Someone has to stop that damn bomber before he endangers more people.
A ver. Mira el doctor Henry. Oh.
Is the doctor afraid to board the ship? Is the... Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
Ah, el médico. Claro.
Ah,
Yo
the
sospecho
hero
por él.
of the
Yo estoy
hour.
sospechando de él. Porque él desapareció cuando justamente nos encontramos con el mozo. Y era el único, además de Matt, que estaba en el vagón que vimos. Y si era el médico, debía atender a la gente. Es italiano, o sea... como que... todo indica que puede ser el nuevo cuervo, pero no, lo obvio nunca es bueno. El héroe
The
del...
hero of the hour, but out of work soon.
Oh, you won't be a policeman anymore?
Yes, but on my old beat, which is almost as good as being out of work.
I understand.
Is your new job bothering you?
On the contrary, I wasn't sure whether I made the right decision until now. I'm from the Black Forest, you know. There are only mountains there. No ships.
Selva
But
negra.
now,
Buen lugar.
the salty breeze, the atmosphere. I think I want to stay at sea forever.
The sea is one thing, the passengers are another.
It will be okay.
La baronesa.
Have you already met the captain?
Mario Di Conti.
Mario
Heard
Di
of him?
Conti.
Should I have?
He is something of a star in Italy. A war hero. In the First World War, when he was a young man, he sank more enemy ships than anyone else. In the Second World War, well, he had some personal problems.
You mean like the ones you buy in bottles and pillboxes?
Yeah, you could say that. Anyway, sending him into combat was out of the question. They gave him a supply ship instead. And he became a hero again. His ship, part of a convoy from Palermo to North Africa, was the only one that made it, with an extra 100 seamen who he rescued from the other ships.
Impressive.
To say his health is rather shaky these days would be an understatement. I think most of my time on board will be spent dealing with his numerous ailments.
Perdón, ahora estoy comiendo una papita. Disculpen el sonido, pero nadie está aquí.
What do you know about the Baroness?
Nothing really.
Did you talk to her in the tunnel?
No. Her butler was looking after her, and I was busy with Miss Miller. As you can imagine, it was a shock for her to see her son rolling away on a burning train.
That's understandable.
So, we were all glad when we heard about your brave deed.
Well, there's nothing left for me to do but to wish you a good trip.
Oh, you are not coming with us?
Unfortunately, no. I'm to go back to Zurich.
What a pity.
Take care, Dr. Gebhardt.
Oh, I just remembered. We found these in the tunnel. Are they yours?
Ay, la
I'm afraid
pastilla.
so.
Strophantine. Do you have heart problems? Maybe it's for the best that you're not coming along. Too much excitement could be bad for your health.
You mean if I don't do anything, I'll probably have a few more years to live?
That's right. Keep your chin up.
Bueno, si el médico lo dice. A ver. What? No la suda, ¿eh? A ver. Hola. Deme unos 5 segundos. A ver si este celular responde. Ahora. ¿Qué sale de... ¡Ay, no! Dios, olvidé cambiar el título. Hola, bro, ¿cómo te va? ¿Todo bien? Ay, ahora me di cuenta que tenía el título mal. Dejé el título igual, pensé que tenía el título de Raven, y eso que hice 2 directos. Este es el segundo directo. Estamos bien. Si quieres te explico ahora lo del juego, o te explico por qué ayer no hice directo. Bueno, primero. Ayer no hice directo porque primero estaba en una partida de rol que duraba casi 12 horas. Y cuando ya estábamos una horita en mi turno, porque tuvimos que dividirlo en turnos, tuve que con mi hermana ir a buscar a mi madre en su taller de actuación, que estaba al otro lado de la ciudad. Y después fuimos al supermercado a comprar comida. Y ahí como a las 10 de la noche fuimos directamente a un food truck. Si no sabes qué, es un lugar lleno de caravanas que hacen comida, diferentes tipos de comida, comida italiana, comida mexicana, comida venezolana, yaroas, todo eso. Y comimos y llegamos aquí a las 11:30 de la noche y ya. Eso fue mi aventura de ayer. Te explica normal, ya escucho, ok. Y bueno, hoy después de hacer limpieza, estar tranquilo en la casa, dije vamos a hacer directo, no de Wednesday, sino de Raven. Y ya tengo casi 1 hora, pero la primera media hora el internet me cayó, por suerte no perdí mucho y estamos aquí. No vi ahí, no vi cosas de Perú, pero había de Venezuela, italiana, mexicana, creo que había de Brasil, pero peruana no. Pero si hay yo... No. Pero bueno, nosotros continuamos en The Raven. Tengo que cambiar el nombre. Después de nuestra aventura en el tren, que evitamos que el tren explotara, salvamos a nuestro amiguito Matt, llegamos aquí, pero el inspector, a cargo del caso del cuervo, no quiere que subamos y no podemos subir. Y estamos aquí explorando a ver qué debemos hacer. Entonces, subí a bordo del barco. Legrand no quiere dejarme subir al barco. Debo dar con el modo de acompañarlo. Conocimos nuevos personajes. Doctor Gerald, Matt Miller, Lady Claudia Weston, la condesa. La bomba. Pero bueno, estamos aquí y estamos intentando ver cómo explorar. Ir al coche de la baronesa. O sea, ya llegó ahí la baronesa.
James! James! Where on earth are you?
Hello, Baroness.
Ah, Inspector.
Constable.
Poppycock. You won't be a constable much longer. When they find out how you rescued that little boy, they'll have to promote you to Inspector.
Very kind of you to say so, Baroness.
Podríamos aprovechar que la baronesa la tenemos en nuestra mano, que nos haga subir al barco.
I hope you survived the adventure in the tunnel unharmed.
Scandalous! You book a first-class cabin, and then you're walking on the rails. Huh. They wanted to bundle me off in a bus without my luggage.
The circumstances, madam.
I insisted on a limousine and didn't leave until all my luggage was recovered.
Ay, esta mujer no es orgullosa. Ok, caja fuerte. A ver, porque Bueno, no, voy a explicar esto. Al final el cuervo no se robó la joya que quería robarse. La joya estaba en un lugar seguro, pero la traía en el barco, pero está en una caja fuerte que necesita 3 llaves. Creemos que el cuervo logró copiar 2 y la última que la tiene la baronesa. Entonces tenemos que estar cerca de ella para asegurarnos si el cuervo va por ella. ¿Sabía que la madera es un recurso muy escaso? Sí, es verdad, es un recurso importante, pero que se usa mucho.
Did you know that the real Eye of the Sphinx wasn't even on the train?
I had no idea. Inspector Legrand seems to prefer to keep me in the dark, although I'm the one paying for all of this.
The inspector is ensuring the safety of the Eye.
Well, obviously. All the same, it was you who did the real work on the train.
Viaje en el
I
Cairo.
hope that the remainder of your trip to Cairo will be less stressful.
You aren't coming with us?
I'm afraid Inspector Legrand doesn't want my company.
Uy,
Now,
uy,
where's my damn butler?
y el mayordomo, ¿dónde está?
James, there you are. Is the inspector to carry my luggage onto the ship all by himself?
Well, actually,
¿Qué pasa?
Baroness?
No vas a
Baroness,
hacer...
can you hear me? She fainted.
No. No.
Baroness?
Again, harder.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Help me up.
Perhaps we should...
Now.
Nos está ayudando para que podamos entrar al barco,
I'll get Dr. Gebhardt.
No, Doctor. Just a little moment of weakness. Your arm, James. Take me to the ship.
But of course, madam.
Claro, se hace que
That was no moment of weakness. She saw something that shocked her, or someone. Very interesting,
vio algo que la
especially
asustó.
since she doesn't want to admit it.
Interesante, Interesante. Yo pensé que estaba fingiendo para que nosotros la lleváramos, pero parece que de verdad se asustó. Toda la galaxia no existe un material igual que la madera. El oro es un... entiendo. Sí, claro, en comparación de bueno, claro, es que solo existe madera en la Tierra. O sea, es verdad. Claro, porque los minerales se pueden crear en las estrellas. Muy curioso, es verdad, Bueno, vamos a continuar. A ver, mirar el pueblo militar.
Who or what did she see?
A ver. El capitán.
Neither of them seems to have noticed what happened down here.
O vio al médico. El
They'll have a
violinista.
tough time with her. How does one get aboard without a ticket? Not brilliant,
subir a bordo
but
sin
it's a
billete?
possibility.
¿Qué idea tienes, mi querido? A ver. Pista. El baúl sospechoso que vi mientras cargaba el barco debe de estar en la bodega de carga. ¿Lo habrá usado el cuervo para subir a bordo? Uy, que el cuervo pueda irse entre... Claro, como nosotros tenemos su pasaje y su pasaporte, no hay forma de que él pueda... Ay, me estoy perdiendo muchas cosas por darle a una opción y al final no puedo hacer nada. Pero... A ver, no hay nada aquí. A ver, entonces el violinista está ahí, pero está siguiendo a la joven. Con lo que investigamos parece que él debe mucho dinero y qué mejor forma que casarse con la hija del presidente del ferrocarril. A ver.
The sea is quiet today. Ideal conditions for a cruise.
Sí, podíamos subir. A ver. La gente Oliver.
Constable Oliver seems to be a little simplistic. but I don't think he's a bad policeman. The way he reacted in the tunnel and got the train moving. Hats off.
Claro, es verdad, él fue que encendió el motor, el tren.
Hello, Constable Olivier.
It's Oliver.
Oliver. Buen trabajo en el túnel.
I just wanted to say that you did a good job in the tunnel.
Thanks.
How did you know how to get the train moving?
I come from a family of miners, and my uncle is an engine driver down the mine.
I see. And you looked over his shoulder?
Yeah, best way to learn.
A ver. Disculpen, estoy comiendo una papita. A ver. Si este celular quiere funcionar. ¿A qué hora empezó la balacera? ¿Cuál balacera? No ha habido ninguna balacera. Si en el juego te refieres a que explotó el tren, que intentaron explotar el tren, fue en el otro directo. Y aquí lo logramos evitar.
Did Legrand tell you about his theory? That it could be the real Raven?
Of course he did. We're partners.
But the modus operandi doesn't fit at all. The Raven wasn't a bomber.
We have the letter. And the feather. That's his symbol.
Anyone can put a feather in an envelope.
You would know.
What's that supposed to mean?
It was you.
What was me?
You put the envelope on the safe.
To blow myself up?
You threw the bomb away, and now you're the famous hero, right? And the Raven must have paid you pretty well.
That is ridiculous.
Is it? Only you and I and Legrand were in the freight car. One of us must have put the envelope on the safe. Legrand didn't. And I didn't think about it.
Ay, Dios mío, cree que somos el cuervo, pero qué loco. A ver, déjame activar los comentarios porque ahora mismo se me cayó el celular, así que... Y se me apagó, ese se está prendiendo. Vamos a poner los comentarios. Gemido. Cromwell, vamos, en serio. No, pero en serio. ¿Qué balacera tú estás hablando,
Unfortunately, I didn't have time to see the sights in Venice. Paperwork served up by my Italian colleagues took up most of the day.
Ok. Porque no hay nada más que hacer. Sería ver si podemos...
I'll be marching up this gangway today, no matter what. Someone has to stop that damn bomber before he endangers me.
Subí a bordo, a ver, vamos a hablar con el capitán a ver si nos deja entrar.
Oh, who do we have here? Signore...
This is Constable Anton Zeller.
Signore Zeller, I heard about your feats in the mountains. Welcome aboard the MS Lydia.
Thank you, Captain.
I didn't know you'd be taking part in the journey, but I'm glad to have you with us. I'll have a nice cabin prepared for you immediately.
The constable will not be joining us. He has other duties.
Oh, that's too bad. I would have loved to hear about his adventures from the man himself.
Dejecito, copo. No, Cromwell, no, hombre. Vamos a hablar del viaje y después vamos a hablar del...
I'd like to accept your offer, but unfortunately, higher powers prevent it.
I am sorry to hear that. We are by no means full, and have plenty of room for one more passenger.
The constable just wants to have a quick look around and then leave before we set sail. When will that be?
In about 15 minutes.
Ok, se nos acaba el tiempo.
There you have it, constable.
Bueno, por lo menos deja
May I ask how to get to the cargo hold?
Oh, signori, there are much nicer places on board.
But I'm interested in the cargo hold.
Why is that?
One of the trunks seems suspicious to me. Someone could be hidden in it.
You... You want to imply that the most brilliant and probably richest thief in all of Europe is stowing away in a trunk? That's not his style.
That's what makes it more likely that it's not him, but a copycat who's behind all this. And a copycat's style might include doing whatever it takes, like hiding in a trunk if they've lost the ticket.
Oh, come on.
Claro.
Actually, it would be possible for a registered passenger to board the ship without a ticket.
¿Cómo? ¿Subir a bordo sin pasajes?
What do you mean?
You can't buy a ticket for the Lydia at the counter. You book the trip in advance. We know the names of all the passengers. As long as a passenger is on the guest list, we let them board the ship. Doesn't matter if they have a ticket or not.
And did any of the passengers board without a ticket?
I couldn't say. We ask for a name and check it on the list. The tickets are no more than souvenirs for the passengers.
So much for your trunk theory.
Regardless of what you say, I would still like to examine the cargo hold.
All right then, if you like. But we'll meet here again in 10 minutes.
Okay,
Captain De
Papa.
Conti, before we depart, I'd like to send 2 telegrams.
Dos
Certainly,
telegramas.
Inspector. The cargo hold is over there. You can enter through a door on the forecastle. The horn will sound twice, 5 minutes before we set off. That's the signal for all the dock workers to leave the ship.
Understood, Captain.
Ok.
Follow me to the bridge. You can send your telegrams from there.
Ok. A ver.
My time is running out. If I don't find anything in the cargo hold, my cruise will be over before it even begins.
Ok. Quiero comentar que si el cuervo puede subir
Oh, no.
sin ticket, eso significa que tiene que usar un nombre, obviamente falso. Si Legrand le prende el cocote, podría usar la lista y comprobar a todos los pasajeros y descubrir ahí mismo al cuervo, pero qué oscuridad.
Oh, what's this?
Una linterna.
Aha.
Bueno.
I'd give the opera glasses to the Baroness or her...
Oh, el vehículo de la...
That's the young woman's cabriolet. Apparently they absolutely had to take it to Egypt, at Daddy's expense, of course.
La chica tiene su cosa. ¿Dónde la bodega de carga, no? Vamos a examinar esta taquilla, a ver.
The door to this locker is ajar. Empty. The left 3 lockers are locked.
¿Por qué se estaba abierto? Ah, curioso, creo que bueno. Aquí no es que es tan común el apellido Santos, pero yo he conocido personas con mi mismo apellido. Con uno de mis 2 apellidos, porque en realidad yo tengo 2 apellidos. Sí, tiene sentido. En México, Santos es muy común. El baúl.
Hello? Come on out.
A ver.
Hello? The game's up. I'm opening the trunk.
Vacía.
Hello?
Ya salió él. Antes de volver, vamos a ver si encontró algo más. Si el control quiere.
I'm sure someone was in the trunk, but where are they now?
Usa una granada. Aquí no hay arma, Cromwell. Esto es una aventura gráfica. A ver. Examinar los fragmentos.
The shards are...
¿Eh?
Phew, I startled too easily.
¿Una rata? A ver. ¿Esa era una mujer? Espérate, ¿esa era una mujer? ¿O me confundí? Como está el brillo de la ventana no veo bien, pero jurado que era una mujer. No. Guardar sí. guardar silencio, a ver, mejor, a ver. A ver. En esta situación, tiroteo en la bodega de carga. Tiroteo en la bodega de carga. Alguien ha disparado a un arma en la bodega. ¿Quién ha sido? ¿A dónde apuntaba? ¿Por qué? Son preguntas para... El polizón. ¿Ok? Bueno, no podemos usarla directamente las armas. Un polizón consiguió, en fin, esconderse en un baúl de ropa a bordo de mi Lidia y luego me dejó inconsciente. Pero, ¿quién es? ¿El cuervo? ¿Uno de los cómplices? ¿O será alguien sin ninguna relación? Yo creo que es los únicos, ¿eh? Vamos a ver si cogemos el cuchillo. Bien. Tirar del telar, usarlo. Vamos a tirar el telar, a ver. Tela. Una plancha de hierro. ¿Cómo vamos a abrir una caja? ¿Y para qué necesito la grúa? ¿Qué? Claro, que no puedo hablar. Una plancha de hierro con... ¿Por qué queremos abrir la caja? A ver. Cortar los billetes con la... ¡Ah! Aquí hay una sierra. ¿Y la grúa para qué? No, pues no. Creo que ahí está la caja fuerte de donde están las joyas. Ay. Bueno, tenemos los pies libres. Eso es algo. Ahora podemos levantarnos. Ay, con el gancho podemos... A ver. A ver. Uy. ¿Qué pasó?
Ouch.
Uy, la animación fue rara. Pero nos liberamos, ¿eh? Da a entender que usamos la grúa para romper las cuerdas y liberarnos. Pero como estamos en
It would be best if no one found out about this.
No, imágenes desbloqueadas. Houdini. Podemos volver a ver. Rompimos la silla. Pues ya estamos en el barco y parece que el barco ya salpó.
I can make out a corridor, but no details. The glass...
Ok. De momento no hay que irnos. Tubería.
There's some blood and hair stuck to the pipe. Hair I really can't afford to lose.
No pegaron con la tubería.
I'll hold it on the blood-spattered end. After all, we already know who the victim is.
Bueno, tenemos un tubo. Podemos subir, pero prácticamente somos un polizón. A ver.
A detention cell for crew members? Or maybe for rowdy passengers? The shot hit this crate. The question is, was the gunman actually trying to hit it? And if so, why?
El único que sé que podía tener arma es Helen o el que lo acompaña, el Nicole ese. Tiroteo en la bodega.
Maybe the gunman just wanted to intimidate me. I can't imagine a more effective warning. It's too dark to make out anything inside the hole. I should take a closer look later.
Uy, perdón, déjame bajar esto para que no suene tanto. A ver.
The cargo hold seems to be used as a changing room for the crew as well, or at least the part of the crew that doesn't do their work in white suits.
Claro, perfecto. El polizón podía aprovechar, cogió lo que estaba aquí en el casillero y se ocultó. Podría ser el cuervo, obviamente. Así es la forma de infiltrarse sin ser un pasajero. No tendría sentido.
It's already dark outside. How long have I been unconscious? I don't see anyone. But what if whoever knocked me out is still around? Or even the gunman?
Hay que tener cuidado.
I didn't lock the door when I came in. Whoever locked the door is stronger than me.
O alguien más joven. ¿Quién me ha dejado inconsciente? Parece que alguien ha disparado en la cara, creo. Ok, tipo de herramienta.
Whoever...
Hola.
I didn't lock it.
Aquí no puedo moverme. A ver. Voy a usar la tubería para poder sacar la bala y tener una prueba. Pero creo que no. No puedo hacer nada. Robert, ¿te fuiste? Creo que el internet no se me ha caído y nada. Bueno, la única opción sería irme por aquí. A ver, espero que no lo hayan cerrado.
It's no use. The door seems to be locked from the other side.
A ver.
Even...
No, está cerrado. Podemos salir si usamos palanca con el tubo, eso es lo que... A ver, parece que Cromer se fue. Entonces hacemos esto. Espera un momento. Ya. Vamos a hacer esto. Abandonar la bodega. Ah, ok, creo que ya la abrimos. Voy a quitar los comentarios.
I should be careful. The gunman may still be nearby.
Ya, disparó, pero tuvo tiempo de cerrar la puerta. A ver. ¿Eh?
you up to, Zelna?
Legal. Color de la pistola.
I wanted to determine whether the gun had been fired recently, Inspector.
I mean, what are you doing on the ship?
I was jumped in the cargo hold.
Of course you were.
Here,
serio?
look. Careful how you hold it. There could be fingerprints on the end.
Surely you don't expect me to believe you.
Golpea en la cabeza.
I was inspecting the trunk. I found it in the cargo hold, and it was clear that someone had hidden inside it to board the ship.
Some people are willing to go to great lengths to be a part of this journey.
Indeed. Whoever it was, they struck me on the head from behind with the pipe while I was looking for clues. Oh, and they shot at me as well.
Ridiculous. You wanted to come along. Orders be damned, and so you found a way to stay here. I should throw you overboard.
I would have dreamed up something less painful.
True. That doesn't look good.
See? And there's a bullet wedged in a wooden crate down there. I don't have a gun.
The doctor should have a look at it. Come with me.
Okay. Pero no sabemos si él fue el que disparó, pero es que no tiene sentido. Y si habrá oído el disparo. Mira la baronesa.
Inspector Legrand and
No es por el
Constable
capitán.
Zelna. So you have decided to join us on our journey after all.
So it would seem. We are searching for Dr. Gebhardt.
I'm just fine, Captain Conte.
The Conte.
I'm in control. I can manage.
Bravo,
Tell
bravo.
James he absolutely must wake me at 9:45.
Certainly, madam.
Absolutely.
I shall see that he does.
And now I shall return to my chambers. You'll be in the bar tonight at 10, Inspector.
If that's what you wish.
It will be spectacular. I promise.
The fresh sea air, and perhaps a glass of champagne to many. But I'm glad that you decided to join us on our journey to Cairo.
Not quite voluntarily.
So he says.
I was jumped from behind.
But no, that is...
Dr. Gebhardt should have a look at him, Captain De Conti.
Of course. Please, have a seat in the saloon, Constable Zelda. I'll summon the doctor.
Ok. A ver. Hay un polizón aquí que nos atrapó.
Doctor, there you are. Our brave Constable Zelda was attacked.
Ay, la escritora.
Struck on the head.
Oh. Sit down, please.
Now, please, tell me exactly what happened.
Me han asaltado porque nadie me buscó.
I think you've got a stowaway on board. I was jumped.
Intolerable. I'll have the crew search every nook and cranny of the ship. And of course, Mr. Zelna, you are cordially invited to travel
Gracias.
as our special guest.
Good to know that at least one man doesn't want to throw me overboard.
Is it bad?
Yes, it hurts a lot.
I spoke with Dr. Gebhardt.
He suffered a violent blow to the back of the head. I cannot really say how bad it is.
But I can. It really hurts.
¿Dónde estamos?
Where are we? And what time is it? I must have been out for ages.
It's just after 8 p.m.
You just missed dinner. But we'll all meet here in the saloon at 10 o'clock to have a drink
Ah, creo
together.
que sí era
Greeting
baronesa.
the passengers personally is a tradition I will not break, even on this unusual journey.
How many fingers do you see?
Tres. Tres dedos.
3 fingers.
Okay.
Porque nadie me buscó, es verdad.
Why didn't anyone come looking for me? Didn't anyone notice that I didn't come back from the cargo hold?
We did search for you, but we couldn't find you.
Who was supposed to search the cargo hold?
Constable Oliver. I'll have a talk with him about that later.
I should hope so.
You're all right now, Constable. The bleeding has stopped, and the wound looks good. You may have a mild concussion. You just need a good night's sleep. And tomorrow, your only worries will be a headache and an impressive bump.
Thanks.
That's a good enough reason to celebrate. Enough about crooks and thieves. From now on, you can start to enjoy your free cruise.
Ay, qué bueno. Bueno, hay que ver.
Inspector!
What?
A dark shadow. Upper deck, just now.
Go, let's have a look.
I'll join you.
Me too.
No, you stay here.
Do you want to make this an argument?
Ay, el doctor. Aún sospecho de usted, pero sabemos que hay alguien más.
Robert, go to the Baroness and don't let her out of your sight. Zelna, you're coming to the port side. Doctor, you go to starboard. I'll start at the forecastle and work my way back to the two of you. Understood?
But...
Bueno.
Baroness von Trebitz.
Está más borracha. A ver.
Hello? Baroness von Trebitz? Open the door.
Dr. Gebhard insisted on coming along, but now he doesn't seem to be sure if that was a good idea.
Bueno. Ah, no puedo irme. Uy, el bruto este. Ahora.
Are you okay, Doctor?
Oh, of course. Why wouldn't I be? It's just that... Well, I would prefer to come with you.
You heard the inspector.
Tiene miedo. Oye. Ya no puedo hacer nada. Que siga. A ver. No puedo. Seguramente la baronesa debe tener una resaca y entonces no va a despertar. A ver.
All right, Doc. I'm off.
Oh no, I'm not going on a manhunt all by myself.
¿Pero qué miedo tiene? Si él estaba solo en el vagón, o sea, ¿qué pasó? ¿Tiene miedo o no quiere alejarse de nosotros?
Are you okay? Maybe you had better take a rest, in case the blow was more severe.
I'm okay.
¿Y ahora?
Zelna, up here.
Come on. I think it came from up there.
Ok. Mucha cinemática, ¿ves? Yo creo que era el capitán que nos habló.
Sure, you just wanted to get a breath of fresh air.
Le gané encontrar el polizón.
Zelna, look who we have here.
Well, if that's not our shadow.
And our stowaway.
Spent any time hiding in a trunk recently?
Me do nothing.
He claims to be part of the crew. Just wanted to get some fresh air.
Of course.
The Baroness won't open the door, sir.
Understood. Take him to the detention cell, Robert.
Que está ahí en la bodega. Tiene que ser que nos golpeó, pero ¿por qué? Era él, creo. Aunque me pareció que era una mujer. ¿Y ahora?
You were right. There was a stowaway.
Yes, but he can't be the Raven. He's too young.
Right, but that doesn't mean that the Raven isn't lurking here as well.
What was that?
A shot!
It came from one of the cabins.
Uy, esto se está poniendo cada vez más emocionante. A ver.
Oh no! Baroness von Trebitz? Baroness! Open the door!
Oh. ¿La mataron?
Step aside, please.
Por favor.
We have a murder on our hands, gentlemen. Hurry, Zelna. The murderer still has to be nearby.
Mataron a la baronesa.
There's practically no one on deck. Anyone who's outside is a suspect. This time, we'll get him.
Uy, tranquilo, tranquilo.
Zelna, are you okay?
Yes. Come on.
El corazón ya no da. Ay, no, Zelna.
Zelna. Zelna. Murder.
Ay, no. Esto no es bueno. A ver. Qué curioso que nos empezamos a sentir mal después de tener la bebida que el médico nos dio. Interesante. Y como que el médico no quería despegarse de nosotros. Sabemos que el médico no mató a la baronesa porque no fue que disparó. No, espérate.
Ah, you awake? Sleep well, did you?
Sí. Con sarcasmo, sí, gracias.
Save your breath. What's the status of the investigation?
Don't take that tone with me. While you were sleeping, we were working.
Have you arrested anyone yet?
You mean besides the Arab?
He could hardly have committed the murder. You must have been with him when it happened.
We heard the shot on the forecastle. I locked our friend in the detention cell in the cargo hold, and then went up to assist Legrand. You were already sleeping the sleep of the just.
Ok, sí. Pero también tenía el tiempo de, qué sé yo, de encerrarlo y de matar a la baronesa. Él intentó entrar, pero no, pero es que también sospecho por él.
I didn't pass out last night because of the blow to my head, did I?
Seems unlikely. Inspector Legrand thinks you were
Claro.
drugged.
But how? The champagne.
Champán.
Who gave you the glass of champagne?
El
Captain
capitán,
DeConti.
es verdad.
Interesting.
A ver, ¿por qué el capitán nos endrogaría?
Besides the Arab, has anyone else aroused your suspicion?
No. Seconds after the alarm went off, the decks were swarming with frightened passengers.
Yes, a clever way to stay incognito during the commotion.
Claro.
But we still have our primary suspect, the Raven.
You really think he's returned?
Well, I think that no one knows as much about the Raven as Legrand.
But still, it all seems so incredible.
Sí. Él va a ser
About the
champán.
champagne, shouldn't it be possible to find traces of the tranquilizer in the glass?
That is exactly what Legrand is trying to do.
Without a laboratory?
Oh, he's got a lab. His cabin is packed with all the latest forensic stuff.
Interesante.
It's quite impressive what the inspector can do.
A competent man, no doubt, and surprisingly well prepared.
And diligent. He's been at it all night with his brushes and tinctures and glasses and everything, working like a man possessed. I wouldn't want to be the Raven now.
Claro, nos hizo el favor, qué bueno.
What's the state of play? How was the Baroness killed?
A ver.
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We'll know more once the doc finishes examining the body in the medical centre.
And no one saw anything suspicious?
No one saw a shadowy raven leaving the Baroness's cabin, if that's what you mean. A lot of people heard the gunshot. Inspector Legrand wants to question the passengers again this morning, once they've all calmed down, and he's had a chance to examine the evidence.
Ok, entonces, sabemos que no fue nuestro personaje, no fue este porque estaba llevando al tipo el árabe, no fue Legrand, pero que se sepa, él y Legrand son los únicos que tienen pistola en el barco, y no fue el médico porque el médico estaba con nosotros. Entonces puede ser el capitán, o puede ser el violinista que lo vimos ahí, o la joven. Pero sabemos que no fue ni la escritora De momento ni la mamá de Matt, ni Matt, obviamente. Es un niño. Y la mamá no tiene nada que ver. O sea... Y tenemos sospecha del capitán, porque el capitán de momento fue que drogó a Selner. O sea... Pero... Bueno. El mayordomo. ¿Dónde estaba el mayordomo? No estaban con ella.
I suppose that you and Legrand inspected the crime scene and the surroundings.
Of course. And we already hit the jackpot. The murder weapon.
¿En serio?
Really? Where did you find it?
On the gangway. The gangway for boarding the ship folds up and hooks onto the hull when it's not being used. The murderer probably wanted to throw the gun into the sea. Casually dropped it overboard.
But it landed on the gangway.
Bad luck.
But Legrand and I were on the side deck right after the shot. There was no one there.
Maybe the murderer threw the gun away later. We recovered it in the early hours.
I think I'll look for Inspector Legrand now.
Do what you think's best.
You won't get rid of me. I'm here to stay, Constable Oliver.
Be that as it may, Inspector Legrand ordered me to guard the cargo hold with our special guest. That's fine by me.
Perfetto.
Inspector Legrand may be able to get by without sleep for days on end, but not me. It's not easy playing with the big boys, Constable Zellner.
No, it certainly isn't.
Ay, somos un personaje viejito, pero hacemos lo que podemos. A ver si podemos ir a la escena del crimen. Pero es que hay que pensar esto bien. ¿Por qué el asesino tiraría el arma después mucho tiempo después de asesinarlo? Yo creo que la plantó y seguramente si encontramos huellas vamos a pensar que el asesino y si son huellas plantadas. ¿Por qué la dejó en medio de la pasarela justamente después de que nosotros investigamos y no la tiró directamente al mar? Si no la estaban persiguiendo, a ver. El polizón, tiroteo en la bodega, el asesinato de la baronesa de Trenis. La baronesa estaba drogada cuando fue... Sí, tal vez el mismo sedante... Claro, recuerden. La baronesa estaba con el capitán y ella estaba como drogada, cosa. Y sabemos que el capitán nos dio el champán que nos drogó también. Apenas mantenía el equilibrio y estaba bastante mareada cuando... Claro, inconsciente. No me encontraba muy allá y la cosa fue mal empeor. Al final acabé demorándome en la cubierta de lateral justo cuando soltaba la alarma. El champán que bebía anoche en la sala de estar contenía soníferos. Eso explica el mareo y acabé perdiendo el conocimiento. ¿Drogarían también a la baronesa por tren? Iba a decirse cuando nos cruzamos por el camarote. A ver. Esto se pone cada vez más interesante. Vamos a ver si hay algo que...
The cabin was sealed. I'm pretty sure the seal doesn't have any legal relevance here on the open sea, but I'm still dependent on Legrand letting me join his team. I better not blow it by breaking his seal without...
Sí, mejor, no hay que arriesgarse.
An antique wooden globe. If Galileo hadn't asserted himself back then, this would be a flat disc now. The globe nicely shows that 4/5 of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Looking out the window, I'd call that an understatement.
Muy interesante el comentario, ¿Y el camarote de aquí a largo? Pues la pregunta es, ¿dónde está el mayordomo? No lo hemos visto desde que subieron. A ver si podemos ir aquí. Podemos ir afuera. Abajo, bueno, nos lleva. Vamos a explorar un poquito. Estamos avanzando lento pero seguro. Musiquita, Y claro, nos desmayamos y no estuvimos cuando hicieron la celebración, pero según hicieron la celebración por obvias razones, por la muerte de la baronesa. A ver. No puedo. Cha-cha-cha.
How wonderful. Sunshine and a blue sky above the Mediterranean Sea. It would be a perfect cruise day, if not for the murder. The ship must have been rebuilt at some point. I'm sure it didn't originally have such a modern glass roof.
Interesante. Vámonos al pasillo, a la pasadera, a ver si Legrand y el extrañero ese dejo, que Nico, yo le digo Nico, pero no recuerdo el nombre, dejaron algo más. Porque yo creo que no dejaron el arma homicida porque sí, creo que fue para ocurrir algo. Tiene la cubierta de popa. Vamos aquí. Vamos a mirar la pasarela, o sea.
Curious. One can easily toss a gun into the sea from almost anywhere on the ship without being noticed. And yet, the murderer chose the one spot where it's not actually possible. The gangway is hard to miss. Why did the murderer drop the gun on the gangway? They must have noticed the mistake, even if their back was to the sea. So, why didn't they take the gun and throw it a few meters farther into the sea? I suppose the life jackets are stowed there, close to the railing, close at hand in case of emergency.
¿Y si él robó a la baronesa o si fue matada por el heredero del cuervo por su llave? Para no tener tiempo tiró el arma para traerla de grano. Es que nadie se ha preguntado si la baronesa...
I hope I don't find myself needing a life jacket.
Las escaleras fue donde encontramos al tipo. Vamos a probar a ver y después vamos a subir. Este barco es grande. ¿Qué haces durmiendo?
Constable Oliver brought something to drink. You can tell it's not the first time he's had to guard something. The bottle should be full of water, unless the good constable happens to have a secret alcohol problem. No way to verify that. I can't get the bottle without him noticing.
Cuidado si lo durmieron también.
The bottle should be full of water, unless the good... No way...
¿Estás dormido?
It may not seem like it, but Constable Oliver is actually a very effective watchman.
Ok, vamos a entrar a ver.
The stowaway surely didn't sleep well last night in the cargo hold, although his cell is probably more comfortable than my cabin, and more spacious.
Déjame hablarle para que así no diga después. A ver.
What's going on?
The Raven just flew by.
What?
Or at least, he might as well have.
I wasn't asleep.
I understand. It was just a ruse. Any conclusions about a young stowaway?
He's a bit suspicious, foreign and whatnot.
I see. Did he act suspiciously in any way?
No. The shot surprised him as much as it did me. Looked in on him earlier. Still seems to be asleep.
Covered with a blanket from head to toe?
Ah, he's still in there. I poked him.
Okay.
May I go downstairs and have a couple of words with our guest?
No, you may not.
Come again?
Inspector Legrand wants to conduct all the interrogations himself.
I'm sure he'll understand if I form my own conclusions.
He ordered me to guard the door, and that's just what I'm going to do.
How about a bit of individual initiative?
How about letting a man do his job? Or do you think you'd be better at it?
Creo que lo haría mejor.
What do you think? What happened here last night?
The Raven broke into the Baroness's cabin, she surprised him, and he shot her.
What was he looking for in her cabin?
La llave.
She was a rich woman.
Why did he lock the door?
Why not?
From inside? An impressive trick.
I'm not saying I know how he did it. I'm just saying that it was him.
Why didn't he leave a raven feather?
Are you serious? We'd have suspected him straight away.
But fortunately, we still did.
Espera, ¿qué tal si no hay un polizón, sino dos polizones? ¿Qué tal si el que atrapamos es uno y mientras atrapamos este rápidamente fue a la baronesa, sabía que ella estaba dormida, la mató y se escapó y plantó el arma para distraernos?
Let's assume that the old raven really has returned and that he really is responsible for all this. Who is he? Or she?
Oh, could be anyone. No one's ever seen the Raven.
He could also be paying someone else to do his dirty work.
Well, of course. No, it's a fact that he used to work with partners. They even arrested some of his accomplices.
But no one could ever identify the Raven himself. Some claims that they didn't even know that they were working for him. Fascinating. He could have hired someone with financial difficulties to set off the alarm at a certain time without that person knowing why they were doing it.
The man Legrand shot back then, he was a famous safecracker. He could just as well have been a henchman.
Or the real Raven. There's probably no better cover for a big thief than acting like a small one. I don't want to keep you from your duties any longer.
Good idea.
Okay. Bueno, podemos entrar, pero bueno. Pistas y pruebas. Inconsciente, pista y prueba. Okay.
I wonder if this game is an advanced version of bocce. Maybe the inventor realized that it's difficult to play ball games on a boat and came up with an alternative.
Posiblemente aquí se juega con unos discos tipo hockey. Es mejor que una pelota.
Salty sea air in my old lungs, wind in my thinning hair. If I hadn't become a policeman, I could have been a sailor.
Sí, te da bien para ser marinero. Marinero, marinero. Y lo estoy pronunciando mal. Bueno, entonces no podemos hacer nada más. No nos va a dejar entrar. Aunque esté durmiendo, se va a dar cuenta. Vamos a ver si encontramos a demás personas y preguntamos su versión de la noche, a ver. Y arriba, a ver. Hay que saber qué estaba haciendo el capitán cuando estaba desbañado y mataron a la baronesa.
We were here yesterday when we heard the shot, and it was also here where Legrand caught our stowaway.
Espera un momento. ¿Cómo Legrand encontró al polizón?
The grate must be part of the ship's ventilation system. Nothing out of the ordinary. This isn't a panoramic deck for visitors. There are pipes, steel cables, chains up here. You can smell the smoke from the funnel. I have no idea how the ship works, and I really don't care, as long as it stays afloat. The grate shouldn't be so easy to open. Did the stowaway open it and we caught him in the act? No. The pipe is too narrow. He wouldn't fit in there. I guess the cover has been defective for a while. I could inform the captain that the grid has to be repaired, but if I start reporting all the problems on the ship, I'd have to shelve my murder investigation.
¿Pero qué hacía aquí el polizón? ¿Quería escapar?
A boat like this would also make a good hideout for a stowaway.
Claro, yo creo que hay otro
Were the
polizón.
tarpaulins arranged like that on purpose so that no one could put them back in order once they get in? You can tell at a glance that everything is ship-shape with this boat.
Y curioso que encontramos el polizón aquí arriba. Pero sabemos que había un polizón en la bodega. Si hay dos polizones, El que tenemos estaba aquí arriba escondido, intentando esconderse. Y el otro que nos encerró tal vez fue el que mató a la baronesa. O puede ser el mamador.
Why is there an axe hanging here? I suppose it's for chopping through ropes in the event that the lifeboats can't be lowered. Or they use it to enforce who's allowed on the boat and who's not.
Interesante.
The ship's bridge. 2 men. One of them navigating. I get the impression that the officers keep things running. It seems like the captain concentrates on the passengers and the bar.
Okay. El capitán es el anfitrión mientras los demás trabajan.
I better let the men do their work. If one of them had detected something yesterday, he'd already have informed Legrand or the captain.
Claro.
There's dirt piled up in the corner. Down below where the passengers are, the ship is pretty clean. But the crew doesn't seem to care as much up here.
A ver. Yo creo que hay otro polizón. Porque me pareció que el que vimos era una mujer. Y sabemos que no era ni la... Puede ser la jovencita. Imagínate que la mamá de Matt está relacionada con... Puede ser... ¿Dónde está Matt? No lo hemos visto. Es que este caso se vuelve cada vez más complicado.
I'd really like to lie in the sun and take a nap, but I don't have time for that at the moment. I'd really like... But I don't have... No, Jacob. Business before pleasure.
Okay.
Did Edison have any idea what would become of his invention? Big, soft towels. I could reserve a deck chair with it. No, better not. These things made quite a racket last night. I couldn't hear myself think.
Una buena alarma. Sala de estar. No, vamos a mirar la sala de estar. A ver. Me quedaría coger las escaleras. Y esta... A ver si encontramos a Legrand y que nos ayude un poco. O encontrar al capitán. ¿Por qué nuestra bebida tenía sonífero? Uy.
An evacuation plan? And some tips from the doctor for avoiding seasickness, sunburn, and the like. And here, a schedule of activities. A drink with the captain, a shuffleboard competition on the forecastle. And that's about it. A real barrel of fun.
Será el centro médico, acá el doctor.
A model of the Lydia before it was rebuilt. It used to be a freighter. The wide hallways, the cabins, and the saloon were added later.
Claro, este mismo barco que él estaba en la Segunda Guerra Mundial.
A pitiful attempt to make the interior of the ship seem less dreary. A bit of paint on the walls would have helped more, especially since a plant won't survive long without daylight.
Pobre planta.
There are little stones in the flower pot.
A ver, cogemos una piedrecita por si acaso.
Not only does the poor plant have to make do without sunlight, it doesn't have any soil either.
Pobre planta, vamos a coger una
Really?
piedra.
What am I supposed to do with stones?
No sé.
Although, sooner or later...
En una aventura gráfica, lo que parece que no tiene sentido, que va a funcionar en algún momento, señores. Esa es la regla básica. Coge todo lo que puedas coger.
An alarm like this one was set off yesterday. This one hasn't been set off. The security seal is intact.
Entonces, ¿quién activó la alarma?
I'm not paying for this trip, and that's a fair price for my cabin. It's rather plain, shall we say.
Ok. Ah, camarote. ¿Este es el camarote nuestro? Ah, este es el camarote de Legrand. Ahí está.
No, I've slept enough.
Que podemos ver a Legrand o al médico. Vamos a ver a Legrand primero. A ver si sacó algo con la pistola.
That is Legrand's cabin.
Vamos a entrar.
Come in.
Ok. A ver si sacó las huellas. Examinó la bebida. A ver por qué nos durmieron. Madre mía.
Ah, Zelda, are you ready?
Good morning, Inspector Legrand.
No dormió ni nada.
My head is pounding, but I think I'm okay.
Chloral hydrate.
Hidrato de cloral.
Hmm?
That's why you have a headache. I found traces of it in your champagne glass.
Droga.
And this chloral hydrate?
Is a tranquilizer. Can be dissolved in alcohol. The effect begins in minutes and lasts for hours. Who gave you the glass of champagne?
El capitán.
I believe it was Captain DeConti.
If believing were enough for us, we'd have become priests, Constable. Be a policeman and find out for sure.
Understood.
Circunstancia del crimen.
What have you found out so far?
The Baroness was shot in the chest at close range. We heard the shot. The murderer quickly fled the cabin and dropped the murder weapon over the railing later. A simple story so far.
But why was her cabin door locked?
Exactly. If the murderer wanted to make it seem like a suicide, he'd have shot her in the head and left the gun at the crime scene.
And if it was murder, why did he go to all the trouble of locking the door from inside? And how did he manage that anyway?
Especially since we arrived just a few seconds later and didn't see anyone near the cabin.
Something doesn't make sense here.
No, it doesn't, and it's driving me crazy.
Tengo una teoría loca que se me acaba de ocurrir. ¿Y si el disparo no fue el que provocó la muerte de la baronesa, sino una forma de atraernos? Porque yo me imagino una escena donde la baronesa llega a la habitación mismo que entramos, y qué tal si el asesino estaba adentro, cierra la puerta, la mata silenciosamente, sabe que todo el mundo está buscando, el tipo estaba disparando el ese, pero cuando ya se alejó, mientras estábamos esperando explorar, el asesino escapa, pero deja la puerta cerrada, dispara, tira el arma y crea esto de que hubo un asesinato, digo yo.
Did you find the murder weapon?
On the gangway on the side of the ship. I suspect the murderer tried to drop it into the sea. He would have stood close to the railing to let it fall unseen.
And since he doesn't know the ship, he had bad luck and dropped it right onto the gangway.
Indeed. And do you find that probable?
Not a bit.
Neither do I.
Que fue plantada, a ver. Un ladrón de joyas, asesino, la caja fuerte.
Are you sure that there's no bomb inside this time?
Professor Lucien locked it in front of an audience, and it will be opened for the first time in Cairo.
Let's hope so.
It would take hours to crack it, and you'd need heavy machinery.
Or the keys.
Or the 3 keys, that's right.
Las 3. Pero es que si le asesinaron a Vanessa por la llave, seguramente, pero no parece que es por el cuerpo.
What kind of a gun is it?
A pistol, a Luger 08.
Antique.
Manufactured 1,000,000 times during and after the First World War. Austrian model. The owner is David Kreutzer, the violinist. We found him tonight totally drunk on the bow of the ship. He confirmed that it's his gun, but he claims that it was stolen from him.
Fingerprints?
Nothing. But it's worth mentioning that the clip was missing 2 bullets.
2 balas.
And it's definitely the murder weapon.
Yeah.
The ballistic tests are incomplete. Actually, I've been waiting far too long for the bullet recovered from the corpse. Pay the good doctor a visit, Zellner, and see that he does his job.
Dijo 2 balas. Bueno, puede ser que no... Mi teoría es falsa, pero puede ser que la misma arma que dispararon en la bodega es la que mató a la baronesa. Y es del violinista, el que se la robaron. Es que se ve que él es un ladrón, un vividor, pero un asesino no creo. Y una Lugar, un arma antigua, yo creo que él se la robó del médico. Y no había huellas. El único que usa guantes es el médico. Pero es que no tiene sentido, el médico estaba con nosotros. La única explicación es que mató a la baronesa antes. Espérate, no. Espérate. No, es que alguien más debió disparar. No creo, es que no me cuadra.
You think that the jewel thief is the murderer?
Our friend would have needed another key to open the safe and steal the second eye, the one the Baroness was carrying.
Sí.
At least, that's what we implied.
What do you mean?
The Baroness was famous for her forgetfulness. I convinced her to give me the third key. It seems safer for the eye.
The thief searches the Baroness's cabin looking for the third key.
She returns from the saloon earlier than expected.
Surprises him, and he can't allow her to identify him.
He imprisons her until the coast is clear, and then shoots her.
And thus, the thief becomes a murderer.
But still doesn't have all the keys.
Pero si logró copiar... Bueno, sí, ¿verdad? No tiene todas las llaves. Esa me cuadra más, tiene más sentido. Pero creo que la baronesa sabía quién era el asesino. Porque vimos que cuando llegó se desmayó, vio a alguien. No creo que sea el violinista. ¿Puede ser la joven que vimos? La joven del papá rico. Porque estoy seguro que quien atacó a Selene era una mujer. Y además de la baronesa y de la escritora y la mamá de Matt, la que estaba ahí era la joven.
Do you believe the violinist?
He'll be the first person I question. He claims he can't remember anything from the last few hours. Says he drank a bottle of schnapps.
He was on the train and he doesn't have an alibi. His drunkenness could be a smokescreen.
He fits the profile. He travels a lot, has access to high society. Could be interesting.
Y se robó el bolso de la baronesa, hay que recordar.
Do you really think that the Raven is behind all this?
He wrote the letter that was on the safe in the train. Without the letter, we wouldn't have opened the safe and the bomb wouldn't have exploded.
Claro.
But it doesn't seem like him, does it? The Raven was famous in part because he never hurt anyone, much less killed anyone, during a burglary.
It's his handwriting, and he called me Nico. No one else does that. I chased that man across Europe for years. It is him. It has to be him.
But the evidence...
Enough.
I'll be on my way. I want to find out who gave me the drugged champagne.
Good idea. And get the bullet from Dr. Gebhardt.
Of course.
Okay.
Inspector Legrand, are you okay?
Tiene que descansar. El pobre
Maybe you should take a break.
I can sleep once I've caught the Raven. Goodbye, Constable.
Be seeing you.
Bueno, poco a poco nos estamos ganando la confianza de él. Y hemos aprendido muchas cosas. Vamos a ver nuestra nota, a ver qué aprendimos.
Legrand is risking not just his career, but his health as well on his hunt for the Raven. He's working like a demon. Maybe that's why he caught the Raven and no one else.
Sí, su tenacidad también lo atrapó en el pasado, pero... A ver... Inspector... Y como aliado. El violinista, claro. Cosette asegura que anoche estaba borracho y que no recuerda lo sucedido. El alma del asesinato le pertenece. Una luz del que le... Ah, por eso. Claro, por eso el asesino indirectamente no dejó el arma. Y como no tiene huellas, directamente... Yo creo que puede ser el médico, pero el médico estaba con nosotros, ¿eh? A ver, ¿sabes eso? Oliver, la sombra, las 3 llaves. Claro. El polizón. Es verdad. El único que tiene sospecha es el médico, el único que tiene acceso al cadáver. A ver.
Come in.
A ver, ¿qué nos dice el Uy.
Hello, Dr. Gebhardt.
And there's the next one.
Excuse me?
You want something else from me, don't you?
I'm afraid I do.
What a first day at work. Well...
What's the result of your examination of the victim?
She's dead.
I didn't make you work all night long, Dr. Gebhardt.
She was shot. Point-blank shot. Probably with a pistol. It seems like she was lying in bed. The shot struck her heart. She died immediately.
One shot?
More were unnecessary. And we only heard one shot, no?
And there's just one entrance wound.
Just one.
Pero habían 2 balas, o sea, significa que quien disparó en la bodega debió ser con la misma arma. Pero no creo que fue el violinista y estaba disparando a alguien. Debió ser el polizón. Mostrar. Daniel Feinar, hola, bienvenido. Espero que esté disfrutando del directo. Disculpe, estaba leyendo algo. A ver, la sustancia
I am
bloqueadora.
told that I was drugged.
That's how it seems.
What can you tell me about it?
Me? Why should that be my business?
Haven't you analyzed the glass?
No, I haven't. The inspector said he's the better chemist. I'll let him do it. That way I could at least concentrate on the body.
Lógico.
Do you think the Baroness might have been drugged? She was very tired and unsteady when Legrand and I saw her.
Yeah, I heard about that. I must have just missed her in the saloon. And without having seen her myself, it is hard to make a diagnosis.
Of course. Can you say something about her general health?
She was quite overweight, and the butler said that she suffered from diabetes. Despite that, she hadn't visited a doctor for several years.
Doesn't sound good.
Happens more frequently than you might suppose. Some people are scared of doctors and pay with an early death. It is possible that the Baroness wouldn't have lived much longer anyway.
Interesante. ¿Del vaso de quién bebí?
Do you know whose glass I drank from?
What do you mean?
Captain De Conti handed me a glass of champagne.
¿De verdad? ¿Dónde sacó?
But where did he get it?
I don't know. Did you ask him?
I'm just asking because you were also in the saloon when the champagne was served.
Yes, but I only entered the saloon a few seconds before you did. I didn't manage to get a drink myself.
Which, in retrospect, is lucky.
Ah, you're right about
Suerte,
that.
¿eh? Ok, vamos a decir que el asesino es el médico. El médico aprovechó, creó la bebida, echó el sonífero, se lo dio a la baronesa, se borracha. Pero el capitán coge el vaso y nos lo da a nosotros. Él llega, ve que no... Claro, tiene sentido. Por eso él estaba como muy nervioso de que no quería separarse de nosotros. Porque sabía que no estábamos emborrachados, que no íbamos a dormir. Y si él no estaba ahí para justificar nuestro desmayo, era un problema.
Have you already removed the bullet?
Did Legrand send you? What is that Frenchman's problem? I already told you. I will get in touch as soon as I have it. That is also what I told the constable, who he kept sending all night long, once I finally got rid of Legrand himself.
Did he look over your shoulder?
He probably wanted to take the scalpel from my hand and hack away himself. But this is my surgery, and I will not let amateurs interfere with my work.
That's understandable. How much longer will it take?
I have just finished. Send my regards to His Majesty.
Thanks. I think that's it for now.
No. That is it for now, then, and later. I'm going to lie down for a few hours. Can you tell that to your boss?
But...
Uy, 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 está molesto. A ver, ¿qué?
Could I at least have the key?
Absolutely not.
But if we have to examine the victim again...
Then the esteemed inspector knows where to find me. In my cabin. In bed. Good night, Constable Zellner.
Curioso, ¿eh? Curioso, que no quiera que nadie examine el cadáver.
We're lucky that the Lydia has a well-stocked medical center at its disposal. I suppose it was added during the war. A ship of this size wouldn't normally have a full medical center. That is Legrand.
Vamos a darle la bala ya.
Come in.
¿Qué es, dueño? A ver.
Constable.
Le tengo su bala.
About the tranquilizer.
Do you know how you wound up with the glass?
Not yet.
Then you should stop wasting my time and get back to work.
De acuerdo.
About the bullet. Here it is.
Necesitamos información.
Give it to me. As I suspected, a 7.65 Parabellum.
Es la misma arma.
Don't you want to examine it in more detail?
When I have time. For now, we can assume that we have the murder weapon. There can't be too many antique Luger-08 pistols on board.
May I take a look at the Baroness's cabin?
We already searched it thoroughly.
Sure. But what about now, by daylight?
Yes, fine, it can't hurt.
Gracias.
Here, take this with you.
Gracias.
Thanks. I'll let you know if I find anything important.
But only then, please. I'm very busy.
Of course.
Ok.
I'll be in touch if I...
Very well.
Tal vez en la baronesa encontremos pista de quién era el vaso. Yo creo que ese era el vaso de la baronesa que el capitán nos dio. ¿Pero por qué? ¿Lo dio a propósito o por error? Tenemos la piedecita. ¿Para qué? Nadie sabe. Creo que voy a hablar con el árabe. Tengo que encontrar a la joven a la escritora y a Matt. ¿No hay por aquí? Vamos ya a ver lo de la baronesa.
This is the first murder scene I've ever set foot in.
Es mejor tarde que nunca. Oh, madre mía, esta parte es más larga de lo que imaginé. Este juego dura como 8 horas. A ver.
The door frame was damaged when Dr. Gebhardt kicked it in. The real question is, why was the door locked in the first place? Another alarm. It was tripped at some point. The seal is broken. But there's no way of telling whether it happened yesterday or 5 years ago.
Entonces esto significa que de aquí se activó la alarma que oímos. ¿Qué fue lo que vino primero? ¿La alarma o el disparo? No recuerdo.
The most unportable portmanteau I've ever seen. The most unportable portmanteau.
¿Qué tiene usted aquí? Ah.
A portable bar is more like it. Must be hard work transporting this big, heavy thing halfway around the globe. And the Baroness was lucky that the other freight cars were only lightly damaged by the explosion.
Por eso estaba tan preocupada.
An impressive piece, but I don't think it'll get me anywhere with the murder investigations.
Nope.
There should be a ventilation shaft behind the hatch. Usually a good way to break in and out undetected. But we're on a ship. The ventilation shafts are very small here.
A no ser que Matt sea el asesino es pequeño.
I can't say why, and it seems impossible. But something tells me that the murderer entered and left the cabin through the door. The only question is how.
Lo lógico sería que él se subió en la mesa, usó esto y subió.
The notepad has the ship's emblem on it. I suppose all the first-class cabins have them.
A ver, ¿qué hay aquí? Ah. Si escribió algo debajo del papel, podemos imprimir. Es el truco para poder descifrar lo que escribiste antes. A ver, ¿qué dice aquí? Inspector. Vaya a la sala de estar a las 10 p.m. O sea, nosotros. Hay un asesino a bordo. Y yo, ¿qué dice? O sea, es un mensaje para nosotros. Porque nosotros somos el inspector. No, alegar.
It says, Inspector, be in the saloon at 10 p.m. There is a murderer on board and I will expose him. Be. The Baroness seems to have known the murderer, and that means that the Raven can't be the murderer. He never killed anybody. Legrand probably never got the message, otherwise he'd have said something.
Claro, seguro lo escribió mientras estaba borracha, el asesino vino y la mató. O sea, ella sabía quién era el asesino antes, porque ella se desmayó y vio a alguien. Y entre vimos era el capitán, que no podía hacer porque ella estuvo con él, así que no, pero estaba drogada. El violinista tal vez, pero no, es que es muy obvio. La Vanessa nunca conoció al médico.
The mannequin surely came with the cabin. A mannequin for the Baroness's clothes would have a more generous figure. Sunflowers. By Van Gogh, I presume. He liked to paint that sort of thing. Can't be an original. They cost thousands of francs.
Pero es la baronesa. A ver, ¿qué tenemos aquí?
The portholes face the side deck. If someone climbed out of the cabin through a porthole, Legrand and I would have seen them. The portholes are locked. One cannot open or close them from outside. It's the same problem as with the door. If someone left the cabin through the porthole, how did they lock it? And the Baroness wasn't shot from outside. The doctor said she was shot at close range.
Sí. A ver, ¿qué tenemos aquí?
Apparently, the Baroness didn't have time to unpack her bags. Or rather, didn't have time to tell her butler to unpack them for her. Sifting through all that would take ages. But here, the Baroness's handbag.
Claro, ella dijo que se lo habían robado, pero no. ¿Y este cuaderno?
A small leather-bound book. 1964 is engraved on it. This must be the Baroness's diary.
Interesante. Pero antes vamos a mirar. Creo que hay algo abajo.
Something's under there. Down feathers. Maybe from a quilt or a pillow. Nothing special. Although, it seems like one of the feathers was scorched at the top. Literally burnt. I'll take it with me.
Si mi teoría es correcta, creo que el disparo que oímos no era el disparo que mató a la baronesa. Porque puede ser que él lo atrapó, la mató y silenció el disparo con una almohada. Por eso las plumas, los plumones. Después escapa, dispara para poder atraer a las personas, se oculta y deja el arma para inculpar al violinista. Qué cac soy.
A tape recorder. Must go with the built-in speakers. Probably part of the cabin's furnishings.
Puedo haber grabado el momento que murió.
A big, ugly, and impractical vase. If it had a wider opening, one could at least use it as an umbrella stand.
A ver si hay algo.
Can't see anything.
A ver.
Wow. Heavier than it looks.
Plumones.
Aha.
Los plumones que vimos también.
More feathers, and they're singed as well. I'd better take it with me.
Ya yo tengo una teoría. Mató a la baronesa con una almohada para ocultar el disparo y escondió la evidencia dentro del jarro.
Why were the down feathers tossed in the vase? Or is there anything else in there? There may be something else in the vase, but the neck is too narrow to reach in with my hand. There may be something else in the vase, but the...
¿Qué tenemos?
There may be something else in the... The message from the desk of Inspector, be in the... There's still blood on the mattress. The sheet and the blanket have already been removed. To analyze them, I suppose.
Quemarropa.
Nothing. The blood spot is the only sign that someone committed a crime in here. Somehow... That's odd. The blood is so... red. Shouldn't it gradually darken in the air? Turn brown?
¿Por qué la sangre se mantiene fresca?
The unusual color of the blood could be something that Legrand and Dr. Gebhardt missed last night. All cats are gray in the dark, as the saying goes. I should take a sample.
¿Y cómo cojo una muestra?
The unusual all cat... There may be some...
Vamos a ir la grabación, a ver.
The tape recorder is older than the hills, but it was once very expensive. Top of the range. And it doesn't come cheap. Strange. There's only one reel. And it's the wrong one. No. No sign of the original reel.
Entonces esto significa que la baronesa grabó su asesinato, pero se robaron
A reel made by Zeibling. I know the brand. Zeibling's tapes can be overwritten many times without losing quality.
Claro.
They're used in offices so that executives can record messages for the secretaries on the same tape over and over again. But they're not good for much else. They're robust, but they don't offer much in terms of sound quality.
¿Cómo cojo una muestra? A ver. Vamos a ver el diario que dice.
Let's see. Yes, it's a diary, all right. Difficult to read.
A ver, vamos.
No entry from yesterday.
No le dio tiempo de escribir.
A brief, sober description of what she's done recently. Met Morris. Arranged benefit concert for renovation of Louvre Southeastern Wing. Times photo shoot for Eye of Sphinx. BM, poor excuse for photographer. Too fidgety.
A ver.
And so on. This entry looks strange. The handwriting is shaky. Difficult to read. Dreamt of Bobby.
Bobby.
Yesterday would have been his birthday. Next week, Jay's.
J. J. A ver. Esto se pone cada vez más interesante. Pistas y pruebas. Lograr. Ay, perdón. A ver. El bolso.
Cosmetics, a handkerchief, a spectacles case. Nothing special. The Baroness was a very busy woman, and it looks like she had to cope with the loss.
A ver. ¿Qué va a examinar esto? Ah.
Most every family lost loved ones in the war. Maybe hers as well. I'll leave it there. I don't have time to read.
Ok, nos salió un logro, ¿bien? ¿Cómo tomo una muestra? A ver.
Assuming the murderer isn't a magician, and the Baroness locked the door herself before she went to bed, the murderer couldn't have left the cabin through the door. So, the murderer must have still been in here when Dr. Gebhardt kicked the door in. Which is unlikely because someone would have seen him, or he found another way out of the cabin.
Para el techo.
Why were the down feathers? Oh. The unusual... All cats are gray in the dark.
A ver si puedo usar la cinta, a ver. No. No, ya nada más, ya. Vamos para colgar, a ver si nos ayuda con esto. Ay, en serio, disculpe, que me estoy durmiendo. ¡Ey! El mayordomo. Espero que tú no te dé
The
tos.
Baroness's butler looks like he didn't get much sleep. I would describe his facial expression as worried. Hello, Mr. Inch.
Oh, Constable, hello.
You look the worse for wear. It must be terrible for you.
Quite terrible. No one will hire me now.
Excuse me?
My mistress was murdered. Would you hire a butler who's been mixed up in a murder?
But if it turns out that you're not guilty...
If? But what if not? Who else would they blame? There are no gardeners on this ship.
I understand your problem. Under these circumstances, I'm sure you'd answer some questions that could help clear your name,
Claro.
wouldn't you?
Of course.
A ver. ¿Qué estaba haciendo?
Did you notice anything suspicious last night?
No, sir. After the Baroness went to the saloon, I went to the forecastle. I was there until the alarm went off. I went to the side deck and arrived shortly after Professor Lucien and Miss Miller. We found you and Inspector Legrand there. You were unconscious, and the inspector asked us to take care of you.
Ok, ustedes llegaron después de que me desmayé. El consumo de alcohol de la baronesa. Oh, esto es importante.
The Baroness seemed to be pretty drunk the last time I saw her.
Is that so?
Does that surprise you? Did the Baroness not drink?
Oh, yes, she drank. It was no secret.
I understand. How serious was her habit?
Serious enough, sir.
Was she under any medical supervision?
Certainly not, sir. She adamantly refused to see a doctor. Like so many elderly women, she had a distinct aversion to hospitals and the
Claro,
like.
porque la hace sentir vieja. Espera un momento. Dame. Ay, Dios mío, esto es más largo. Demasiado texto.
The gunshot just before the alarm went off. Did you hear it from the forecastle?
No, just the alarm, sir.
Ok, no oyó el disparo, pero oyó la alarma.
You said you were on the forecastle. It sounded like the Baroness let you have the rest of the night off.
Not entirely, sir. One of the crew informed me that the Baroness wanted to be roused at 10:15.
El
Right.
capitán.
Why was that?
I suppose that she wanted to toast the success of the journey with the captain and the other passengers.
She hadn't intended to take a nap then.
That was not her way, sir. She had a lot of spirit, shall we say, when it came to social engagements and a glass or two of champagne.
No, ella no quería levantarse por el sí lo digo, por el festejo de las 10. Ella quería levantarse para poder hablar con Legrand y decirle el asesino, según la nota que encontramos, que decía que era a las 10. Ella quería levantarse 15 minutos antes para tener tiempo.
The Baroness's cabin seems to have been ransacked.
Indeed, sir, by the Baroness herself.
Really?
She was searching for something the entire afternoon.
And did she find it?
I think she did, sir, yes. She was in high spirits when she finally left her cabin.
You wouldn't happen to know what she was looking for, would you?
I'm afraid not.
Una mujer organizada. Trabajar por
How long had you worked for the Baroness?
6 months, sir.
Only 6 months. I always thought that butlers stayed with their employers for decades.
Those decades have to start at some point, Constable. Her former butler wasn't able to fulfill his duties any longer.
Le dio la gota.
Sir.
I understand.
I took on his duties and hoped for a secure position for the next 20 years.
No es un mayordomo viejo, es un mayordomo que solo tiene 6 meses. Podría ser el culpable también.
Would you describe the Baroness as orderly?
Well, she always had a lot of responsibilities, sir.
That doesn't answer my question.
She used to take a lot of luggage on journeys, and I helped her keep track of it as best I could. She was always very angry when she couldn't find something.
What about the photos and the documents I saw in her cabin?
I really don't know. They were out of bounds to me, sir.
Okay.
Memories from the war, I'd say. They meant a lot to her.
May I ask what happened to your arm?
A souvenir from the war, sir.
Doesn't it hinder your work?
Yes, sir. Obviously.
I didn't mean to offend you.
The Baroness had a soft spot for disabled veterans. I think she'd been through a lot herself.
I think that's all for now.
Please, sir, find the murderer. You have to clear me of all suspicion.
Uy, mucho texto, a ver. A ver, inconsciente. Ok, ya. Muy curioso. A ver si hallamos a Yema al final. Nos dio mucha información el mayordomo. Capitán, querida.
Lady Westmacott seems to be an early bird, but maybe that's just because of all the excitement. I saw a twinkle in her eye on the train. She's eager to be part of a real detective story.
No puede ser de mucha buena ayuda.
Lady Westmacott, already on your... Oh.
Constable, don't you think before you speak?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to.
No time for chit-chat. What have you found out?
We're still working on the case. Actually, I have a couple of questions for you.
Please, go ahead.
Okay. Aventura en el tren.
What did you think of our adventure on the train? An extraordinary story, isn't it?
I'm glad that you were able to prove yourself, Mr. Zellner.
Hopefully not for the last time.
I'm glad that everything ended well. I want to thank you sincerely for taking care of Matthew. I can't bear to think about something happening to him.
Ay, lo
It
quiere
all
mucho.
worked out in the end.
Ladrón de pollo. Señora Talavera.
Have you noticed anything related to the murder?
Unfortunately not. I was already in my cabin and missed all the commotion. Damnable old age.
You're telling me.
Oh, you're still young. At my age, you have to expect that you won't experience much anymore. And although I've written about murder so many times, I've never actually witnessed one. How exciting.
I doubt everyone is so relaxed in such a situation.
Claro.
Heartless is the word you're searching for, right, Constable? I certainly didn't want the Baroness to be murdered. But if I can't undo it, then I might as well enjoy it.
Mucha. Esta mujer. Claro, sabemos que ella no es la asesina ni Matthew, porque Matthew es un niño y ella está en silla de ruedas, no sé qué esté fingiendo.
Do you think that the thief from the train and the murderer are the same person?
I think the new Raven is capable of anything.
Legrand believes there is no new Raven. He thinks that the old one has returned.
He said that.
Do you think it's possible? Everyone thinks he's dead.
As a dramatist, the return of the Raven would certainly be delightful. A legend comes back from the grave for one last job. It's quite romantic. At the same time, though, I'd be disappointed.
Why is that?
I followed the Raven's career closely. There weren't many burglars with such character and charm. His burglaries were clever and entertaining, but he was sloppy in London. He almost got caught, and I'll never forgive him for the affair on the train. No, I would much rather that the Raven stayed dead and had nothing to do with the burglary or the murder.
Esa es su opinión. ¿Qué piensa del inspector Legrand?
What do you think of Inspector Legrand?
He seems to be as skilled as everyone says. Intelligent, focused. I had a chat with him yesterday, and he impressed me, but there's something haunted in his eyes.
I don't think he ever really stopped hunting the Raven.
Catching the Raven made him famous. What if he actually shot the wrong person? Unjustified fame bothers people, the good ones at least.
And you think he's one of the good ones?
Anyone who tries so hard to tear down his own memorial must be honorable. Or insane.
Uno de las dos. ¿Quién es ese sospechoso?
What do you think? Who is our suspect?
Everyone. Or almost everyone. Everyone on board is physically capable of shooting someone. But who has the dark desire to take the life of a defenseless person?
One cannot read minds.
And one should not try. You have to collect evidence, traces, clues. That's what will lead us to the killer. It won't be like a bad crime novel, in which they introduce a new character shortly before the end who, surprise, surprise, is also the murderer.
Murderers leave evidence. They're nervous or unnaturally relaxed. They have to adjust constantly.
And because of that, they make mistakes. This is your chance, Constable. If you find the mistake, you'll find your murderer.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course.
Okay. Y yo quiero creer que el mayordomo tiene que algo que ver, porque es el único que está como nervioso, inquieto y...
The alcoholic drinks and everything that goes with them is top-notch on this ship.
De momento no. Vamos a hablar con nuestro amigo.
Captain DeConti is sitting at the bar again. He gave me the glass of champagne last night. Hello, Captain DeConti.
Hey, Constable Zellner. You're back on your feet again. Glad to see it.
Acontecimiento de noche, champán con alguna sustancia.
What was your experience of last night?
Oh, terrible. Dinner was fantastic. Everyone was excited about having a pleasant drink under the stars. And then this.
You were in the saloon all night long.
As the captain, I have to care for my passengers. After you and the others rushed out, I tried to maintain a festive atmosphere. But when the alarm goes off, I lose the battle.
Champán.
Did everyone drink from the same bottle of champagne last night?
There was more than one bottle, if that's what you mean. There were quite a few guests, and the event lasted several hours.
The last bottle of champagne, the one the Baroness drank from, did anyone else drink from it?
Certainly.
We have reason to believe that the champagne was drugged.
Incredible. But wouldn't that have made everyone drowsy?
Not if it was only the Baroness's glass that was drugged.
I see. That's possible. On a night like that, many glasses are filled and emptied. There are several stewards, many guests. No one keeps track of every glass and every bottle.
A few drops in a glass?
Yes, it's certainly possible.
Ya sabemos cómo echan eso. Mi vaso, ¿de dónde sacó
The
el vaso?
glass you handed me last night. Where did you get it?
Ah, I understand. You think your glass was poisoned as well?
Did you pour it yourself?
No. I saw that you weren't doing so well and wanted to rescue the situation. I took the first available glass and I give it to you.
Was it on the table?
No, I hurry over to you, together with Dr. Gebhardt, who...
Oh!
He had the glass in his hand. He was looking around for a place to set it down, so that he could examine you. I took it from him.
And gave it to me.
I'd like to apologize for that, but you look so worse for the wear, and I just wanted to comfort you. I didn't think of looking for a new glass for you.
So the doctor had the drugged glass in his hand.
Ok, entonces, ya. Entonces Geralt tiene que hacer el que drogó a la baronesa. Le dio el vaso, ella se emborrachó. Lo dejó en la mesa, él lo tenía, lo dejó en la baronesa, el capitán lo cogió porque el capitán lo tenía encima, estaba con la baronesa se va y se nos la a nosotros, o sea.
How was the Baroness?
She really surprised me. After she was so unapproachable at the reception and didn't show her face for the entire afternoon, I was afraid she was one of the beaux and bourgeoisie. But then she arrived in the early evening in the best of moods. Already had a few, if you know what I mean.
Did she say anything to you?
She asked me where Legrand's cabin was. I told her, then invited her to come for drinks in the evening. I said it would be great fun. The whole ship will be there, and you don't want to miss that, I told her.
And then?
She seemed to like the idea. She smiled, and then left again for a few minutes. Then she came back and seemed very happy. We drank a toast to life.
Ahí fui donde le dieron la droga.
Is it possible to find out where the alarm was set off?
I'm afraid not. There are alarms all over the ship.
I saw that they're sealed. Can't we just check whether the seal is broken?
I'm afraid they're gonna be missing on a lot of alarms. You know, this is an old ship, and over the years...
So, you're saying that the alarms haven't been regularly maintained?
I'll inform the crew immediately, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Earlier, you said that the Baroness was in a good mood and was clinking glasses with you. What happened afterwards? We met you outside the saloon.
She overdid it a bit. She suddenly started to swoon and almost spilled her drink. I asked her if she wanted to rest for a moment in her cabin. At first, she didn't want to. She definitely wanted to stay in the saloon. But then she realized that she really did need to lie down. We left together. You know the rest of the story.
Okay.
What can you tell me about the passengers?
Oh, not that much, I'm afraid. I wanted to get to know them properly at the reception. In most cases, I just shook hands with them as they boarded the ship. There are a few regulars on board, and after dinner, I had a conversation with Mr. Kreutzer, a talented violinist, and Lady Westmacott. But you already know them from the train.
It seems like there aren't that many passengers on board.
These bloody airplanes are making our lives miserable. Can you imagine? Grown men prefer to jam themselves into a narrow metal coffins instead of enjoying the fresh sea air on the ship.
It's all about saving time.
It shouldn't be about how much time it takes to get from A to B, but about how you spend that time. What do you experience on the journey? That's what it's about.
I'll get back to my investigations now.
Ciao.
Okay. A ver. Muchacha.
The alcoholic drinks and everything that goes with... As expected, fresh ice and tongs.
Constable Zelda, what is the meaning of this? Are even the police light-fingered nowadays?
No.
I need this tool for a criminal investigation.
Well then, why didn't you say so? But bring the tongs back when you're done. Otherwise, I'll have cold fingers all day.
Claro, ahora con esto podría coger lo que está dentro de la urna. A ver si cabe ahí, digo yo. Y entonces podría ir a ver con Legrand y que, sé yo, me dé... ¿Por qué la sangre no se coagula? ¿Eh?
Could work.
A ver.
There's something in there.
¿No? ¿Qué es eso?
Someone stuffed this in the vase. Looks like it's been used to muffle a gunshot. If this isn't an important discovery, I don't know what is. Legrand, here I come.
Esto significa, yo creo que Que mataron a la baronesa con un silencio mientras el tipo quería entrar el soldado de Legrand. Entonces el asesino escapa, activa la alarma y al mismo tiempo escapa, porque yo creo que aquí activa la alarma, dispara desde fuera para atraer a la gente y escapa mientras la gente quiere entrar, o sea, digo yo.
Better not. The pillowcase is evident. What a discovery. This pillow was of Legrand.
Es que no tiene sentido. Es que tiene que. Entonces la pistola. Entonces se usó el arma más de 2 veces. Hay una pistola en el almacén, una bala en el almacén. Se usó una para matar a la condesa, pero es que no tiene sentido que haya usado eso y hayamos oído el disparo.
A singed pillowcase is proof that there must have been a second gunshot.
El disparo que no oímos mató a la baronesa y el otro es por algo más.
Inspector?
Can't you knock?
I didn't realize. I'm really...
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to question each passenger individually. Anyone without an airtight alibi will be checked for gunshot residue.
But, Inspector...
People trip up when you put pressure on them, Constable Zellner. The Raven is nervous. He's changed his methodology and become a
si no
murderer.
había huellas en la... Espérate.
I'll see it in his eyes. After you.
But, Inspector Legrand...
Legrand, querido. Máquina. Descanse, tenemos pruebas.
We have no proof that the Raven and the murderer are the same person.
You may not know it, but I do. I will catch him with or without your help.
I don't believe it. What's gotten into him? Oh, well. It makes no sense to tell him about my theories if his opinion is already set. I need evidence. Or better yet, the murderer. I also need his lab if I'm going to get anywhere. I need to get in there somehow. And I really need to talk to the stowaway. He may have information, and the inspector will just ignore him, since he's too young to be the Raven.
No creo que sea el Raven.
Legrand locked the door.
Podríamos hablar con el capitán y no dar una copia de la llave.
The lock isn't especially secure. If I had a wire or something like that, I could probably pick it.
Y voy a usar el laboratorio para poder analizarla.
Neither Dr. Gebhardt nor Constable Oliver can keep up, but in contrast to good old Robert, the doctor doesn't let himself get roped in for the... I wonder what would happen if Legrand dragged him out of bed for another investigation. Dr. Gebhardt locked the door, and until I have good... Something tells me that he would...
El pobre debe estar cansado, pero... Es que cada prueba me indica, puede ser el mayordomo, puede ser el polizón no. Sabemos que el capitán puede ser muchas cosas para un asesino, pero el violinista... A ver.
The death of his mistress doesn't really bother Inch. He's only...
Curioso. Entonces... Vamos a ver si podemos hablar con el polizón. Necesitamos coger la muestra de sangre. Necesitamos algo más. los jóvenes?
Matt is keeping himself busy with that strange game. He seems to be okay again, but I think he'd be running around all over the place if he'd really come to terms with what happened on the train. Hello there, partner.
Hi.
Are you all right?
Uh-huh.
I heard you and your mom used to argue a lot.
We did. Everything was bad. The house, school, the other kids. We didn't have much money, and I was always alone.
You do know that your mother would love to have been with you, don't you? She had to go out to work to earn money.
She wouldn't have had to, if Dad were still around.
And how do you get along with her now?
I'm always happy when we do something together on vacation. She has more time for me now, and I like my boarding school. I have lots of friends, and the teachers aren't so bad.
Have you recovered from our adventure?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Zellner. What's going on?
What do you mean?
Everybody's acting so strange, and there's tape across that door. I saw that in a movie once.
You don't have to be worried.
Is it about the man from the train?
It might be about the thief, yes.
Haven't you caught him yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Your mother and Professor Lucien seem to be on very good terms with each other. Don't you like him?
Don't know.
He seems to be very nice.
I guess.
Lady Westmacott is all by herself in the saloon. Maybe you'd like to visit her later.
Sure. The lady tells exciting stories.
I know. She's my favorite writer.
She told me that it's not much fun to write detective novels. She'd rather write something else, but her fans always want the same thing.
They made her rich and famous.
I told her to write what she wants to write. If it's good, someone will buy it. And if not, at least she had fun writing it. Then she smiled and nodded. She said it was a good idea.
Qué bueno.
What are you playing there?
I'm playing shuffleboard. At least I'm trying.
Never played it before.
It's easy. Professor Lucien explained it to me.
And who won?
We didn't play.
You didn't want to play with him, did you? Do you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
A ver.
I think you'll have to explain the rules to me first.
Okay, you play with the blue pucks and I play with the red ones. You have to push the pucks with this stick into the zone over there and score as many points as possible.
Sounds easy. How many pucks do I have?
6. Now here comes the kicker. First it's your turn, then mine, and so on. But everyone is allowed to shoot the other person's pucks out of the zone.
Ah, interesante.
Then let's get started.
Vamos.
Oh yeah. What are we playing for?
I thought we'd just play for fun.
That's boring. We have to bet something. Otherwise it isn't fun.
You English people.
So I'll bet my brand new slingshot. And you?
I don't want to gamble.
How about ice cream in Cairo?
Okay. If I win, I get the slingshot. If I lose, I get an ice cream in Cairo.
Creo que tengo que ganarle.
Hey! Never try to cheat Matt Miller. So, what do you say? Ice cream versus slingshot?
All right. Let the
Como
games
tenemos
begin.
piedrecita, yo creo que la vamos a utilizar en esta mentira china. ¿Para qué? A ver. Ah. Ay, me pasé. No, menos 10. Gracias. casi. Menos 10, menos 10, menos 10. Gané. Uf. Gané. A la primera.
That's it.
Oh, man.
The athlete wins the day.
One more time.
No, that's enough for me.
All right.
Thank you.
Are you sure?
Gambling debts are debts of honor.
I'll give it back to you when I don't need it anymore, okay?
Okay, but make sure my mom doesn't catch you with it. She thinks it's dangerous.
Muy interesante, A ver. Mira la señora Miller y el beso Lucio.
Miss Miller and the professor are talking intensely. She seems pretty relaxed, by her standards.
¿Habla con ella?
Good morning, Miss Miller. Professor Lucien?
Constable Zellner, how are you? I heard you passed out last night.
Well, not quite. I was poisoned.
Oh.
That wretch.
Anoche, ¿qué
Who
pasó
do you
anoche?
mean by that wretch?
That stowaway. That new raven.
Ah, piensan que
The
es el
young
cuervo.
man can't be the murderer. Constable Oliver had already apprehended him when the shot was fired.
You mean...
Whoever killed the Baroness is still on the loose.
I think I should take my leave. I'd like to rest for a while.
One last question, Professor.
Please. Ojo del esfinge. Su llave.
The safe in Legrand's cabin can only be opened with 3 keys. Am I right?
That's correct. We sent the first to Monsieur Mokhtar of the Egyptian Museum via air freight. I have one, and the inspector has the other.
But it was originally planned that someone else should carry the 3rd key, right?
You are well informed,
O
Constable.
sea, él sabía que él ya tenía
Baroness
que...
von Trevitt should have had it. But then there were concerns. And for that reason, Inspector Legrand
Lucio no
took
pudo
it
ser que la
himself.
montó.
Was that his
Vaya.
idea?
Well, yes, you could say that. I want to go back to my cabin. I'll see you later, Mary.
Oh, of course. See you later.
A ver, señorita.
Miss Miller and the professor are talking. I didn't want to interrupt your conversation with Professor Lucien so abruptly.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Learning that there's still a burglar on board seemed to frighten him.
He was so relaxed the whole time, and then...
And then the stupid Swiss constable came by and made him anxious.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
No matter. I'm sure he'll calm down and come back soon enough. May I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
Matt, anoche, el mayordomo. El profesor.
You and Professor Lucien seem to be having a lively conversation.
Oh, yes. He's an expert in ancient Egyptian art and preeminent in hieroglyphic research. He's the head of the Egyptian department in the British Museum, you know. And he's going to open an exhibition at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
Right. For the eye.
They had planned on exhibiting both jewels together for the first time in decades, but that's not going to happen now, sadly. I think it's quite upsetting for him.
We're working hard to ensure that at least one eye will be on display.
I know. I'll ask Lady Westmacott if she'd like to participate in the opening of the exhibition. I think it would be good for her.
And Professor Lucien will surely offer you a private tour. How's Matt? He seems happy enough.
After all the commotion, he's already back to his old self again. But I haven't told him about the murder. That would be a bit too much for him.
I think he's made of sterner stuff.
I want to thank you again for what you did on the train. I wouldn't have known...
Everything's fine. Think nothing of it.
El mayordomo, ¿qué usted piensa del
The
mayordomo?
Baroness's butler said that he was on the forecastle as well.
Yes, he was standing on the other side of the deck smoking a cigarette.
Was he on the forecastle the whole time?
I'm not sure. He was there, and later he was on the side deck with us. Oh, yes, he looked after you while you were unconscious. He unbuttoned your collar and held your head while the doctor checked you.
But you can't say for certain whether he came from the forecastle with you and Professor Lucien, or afterwards.
Well, no. But where else could he have come from?
El profesor Lucien como que no tiene coartada, pero es que él sabía que la llave no la tenía la baronesa. A no ser que fue a matarla por otra razón. Que no sé que él es que quien la mató era un asesino, no de ella, de alguien más.
How was last night for you?
It was awful. I was having a conversation with Edgar, Professor Lucien, here on the forecastle. Then I wanted to look for the lady and went forward via the side deck. When I passed the Baroness's cabin, I heard a muffled scream.
You heard a scream?
Yes. I thought the Baroness probably had a fall. I went to the door and listened for a moment. Since I couldn't hear anything, I knocked on the door and asked whether she was all right. There was no answer.
Interesting. And then?
I didn't know what to do, so I tried to open the door. It was locked. I saw the Baroness's butler, Mr. Inch, on the forecastle. I thought he might have the key and went back. On the way, the Bobby crossed my path, and then Edgar, who wanted to check the safe. I explained the situation to him, and then the alarm went off.
Okay, entonces, la baronesa fue asesinada antes de activar la alarma. Y la alarma fue primero y después el disparo o algo así. Entonces, la baronesa murió antes del disparo. Mi teoría de que el disparo que vimos fue para atraer a la gente, nada más.
How did the scream sound?
It was a short outcry, very frightened, as if someone had been startled.
Was it a woman's voice?
Yes, the voice was high.
So it could have been a scream from the Baroness. Possibly because she discovered someone in her cabin.
Possibly.
That person might have threatened her with a weapon, so that she wouldn't scream for help.
Oh, God.
He waited until the coast was clear.
Oh, please, stop it, Mr. Zeller.
You're American, aren't you?
That's correct.
And you moved to England because of the job?
I lived in England before. During the Second World War, I volunteered. I worked in a pharmacy on a U.S. base north of London.
In a pharmacy? Interesting.
Well, it was the war and everyone was sent where they could help best.
Please, go on, Mrs. Miller.
After the war, I studied music in London. I met my husband there. We married and went back to the States together.
He was also American?
No, English. But he said he had problems with his family and he wanted to be as far from them as possible.
And you gave up your studies for him?
Well, yes, I did.
¿Es lo que es el amor? ¿Cómo le va a la Lady White?
How does it feel to work for such a world-famous person?
The work is very interesting and varied, and it pays well, too.
You are very lucky that the lady offered the position to you.
I just hope she won't change her mind one day. What would become of Matt's education then? I really make an effort to measure up to Lady Westmacott's expectations, but sometimes I feel like I fall short.
Lady Westmacott couldn't ask for a better companion.
I'm saving up as much money as I can all the same. I'd do anything so that Matt doesn't have to give up his new life.
Tiene sentido.
Did you report that to Inspector Legrand?
Yes, last night. He was very interested and took a lot of notes. But I wanted to look for Lady Westmacott, and he let me go without further delay. He said that he'd take down my full statement today.
I understand.
Do you think the man from the train also killed the Baroness, Constable Zellner?
I don't know yet.
It's horrible. Explosions, thieves, murderers. This isn't the right place for a lady and a little boy.
Life as a single mother couldn't have been easy.
It was pretty tough then. I worked from morning till night and it was still only enough for the bare necessities. And I couldn't give Matt all the attention he needed.
And then Lady Westmacott entered your life.
It was like an angel appeared to me. She must have offered me the position out of pity. I had no experience as a carer. She made me a generous offer. I couldn't believe it. And she really adores Matt. She's offered him a good education, and now he has every opportunity in life.
An almost unbelievable story.
I'm still afraid that it's a dream and that I'll wake up one day.
Lady Westmacott dropped a hint on the train that she killed her hero, Partout.
De verdad, ¿qué pasó?
What did she mean by that?
Oh, she must have meant the manuscript.
Manuscript?
She always takes it with her. It's an unpublished Partout novel. I once asked her why she never published it. She said that according to her will, the novel's only to be published after her death.
And in it, Partout will be killed?
Maybe. I've never read it. No one has. You'd better ask her yourself.
Interesante.
If you worked in a pharmacy, you would certainly know something about medicines and poisons.
Everything is a potential poison, Constable. It depends on the dose.
Have you ever heard of chloral hydrate?
It's a tranquilizer, isn't it?
I'm asking you.
Lady Westmacott also asked questions like that for her last novel. But since I've never wanted to kill anyone, I never bothered with things like strychnine and arsenic and all that. I could recommend something for a headache, sore throat, or rash.
That's kind of you, but there's really no need. I'll be seeing you, Miss Miller.
Constable?
Espérense un momento. Lady... La escritora puede ser la asesina de la baronesa. No, es una anciana en silla de ruedas. Pero... Sabemos que el doctor tenía el vaso que no se hizo dormir igual que la baronesa. Y es un médico, pero ella sabe del dato de Episodio y la escritora lo pidió. O sea, a ver, es que cada uno tiene su posibilidad de ser el asesino aquí.
I have to talk to the young... Even though he was already under arrest at the time of the shot. And what about the... Could the second missing bullet from the murder weapon be stuck down there in one of the wooden crates? If I want to get into the cargo hold, I'll have to get rid of the constable first. He won't let me talk to our young friend. Inspector Legrand is questioning the first of the passengers in the saloon.
And?
It will be hours before he gets to the stowaway.
And?
We'll save time if I question him.
We'd also save time if you stopped asking me the same things over and over again. I will not let you in. What time is it, by the way?
Got an appointment?
No, but I'm hungry.
Go and get yourself something. I'll mind the door in the meantime.
Aha. You could bring me something, though.
Go and get your food yourself. I have better things to do.
Oh yeah, like unmasking a murderer. I'm sure you're up to it. Judging by your age and rank, you must have solved loads of spectacular cases in the past.
No, I was sidelined and spent my days sitting on my behind. Does that sound...
Necesito algo para poder coger la muestra. A ver.
The little stones make perfect ammunition for the slingshot. Now I just need a suitable target. All right.
Zelda, what in blazes was that?
Yo no sé.
What?
Something hit me!
You mean someone shot at you?
Yes, well, no, I don't know. Didn't you notice anything?
I was riveted by the fantastic view. We Swiss aren't used to seeing the horizon like this.
Va a buscar su agua.
And my bottle's broken too! Oh, I don't believe this.
¿Y ahora?
The bottle is nothing more than broken glass in a puddle. If Constable Oliver gets thirsty now, he'll be in a bind. I should help out. It may not seem like it, but Constable...
¿Quiere agua?
What's the matter now? Did you bring me something to eat?
So, what do you want to eat?
Oh, anything. An apple or something like that.
Leave it with me.
Yeah, thanks.
Ok. ¿Pero por qué necesitamos respiretos? Ah, si tenemos el laboratorio, podríamos coger el sedante y dormirlo y entonces puede ver al polizón, creo yo. Pero ¿por qué tuvimos...? Claro. Podríamos traer una bebida dormida, claro. Déjame subir a ver si hay alguien más. ¿Qué me falta? El violinista y la joven, pero no sé dónde están ellos dos. Son las 4 de la tarde. ¿Verdad, Roy? Disculpen si no voy a hablar ahora. Es que voy a chequear unos mensajes. Vamos a ir al fondo mientras... disco no va. A ver. Mira, aquí está la muchacha. A ver, ¿qué nos dice la señorita Mayo?
Miss Mayers seems to have found an opportunity to do nothing. Hello, Miss Mayers.
Hello, Mr.
Constable Zellner. Do you think it's appropriate to go sunbathing in a situation like this?
What situation?
A woman was murdered last night.
If refusing to sunbathe could bring the dead back to life, I'd go back to my cabin immediately.
Did you hear or see anything suspicious last night?
No, I didn't feel very well last night. I went to bed early.
So, you're feeling better this morning?
Thanks for asking.
¿La habrán dormido también o es la asesina? O sea, actúa tonta, pero puede ser...
I'm sure your parents are truly sorry that they can't be with you.
Maybe, but I'm not a little girl anymore. And thinking about my fiancé keeps me going.
You're engaged?
Yes. My boyfriend and I got engaged right before the trip. I want to surprise my parents, especially my dad.
I'm sure he'll be very surprised. But what will you do if your father doesn't agree?
What choice does he have when he put me on this boat full of thieves and murderers in the first place?
Charming. Enjoy the sun, Miss Mayers, and don't let us disturb you.
If you're trying to make me feel guilty, Constable.
Qué señorita más agradable.
Captain DeConte seems old and tired. I'm sure Captain DeConte wouldn't mind a chat, but I don't think he can...
No. me falta el violinista, pero esta parte... Vamos adentro, es que tiene que estar aquí. Ya prácticamente tengo personajes. Ahora. Ay, entramos con...
Mr. Kreutzer, come on, you have to give me a bit more. You're the only one who was on the train and who has no alibi for last night.
As I said, I was in my cabin.
Are you sure that it was your cabin and not the Baroness?
Legrand will question the guests, one after another. But if he doesn't get the answers that he wants to hear, it could become unpleasant for them.
Espera, ¿cómo se teletransportó el...? Bueno, es que parece que hay un error aquí, un bug o algo así. Vamos a hablar con ella, porque queremos saber del manuscrito.
Lady Westmacott.
By all means, Mr. Zellner.
Miss Miller told me that you have a valuable manuscript with you.
That is correct.
An unpublished Part 2 novel. The manuscript must be worth a fortune.
Oh, it's not just any Part 2 novel. I wrote it 20 years ago, but it will only be published after my death. It's Part 2's last case. Maurice Part 2 dies.
You're going to kill him off?
I already have. And I enjoyed it.
Madam.
I was so sick of writing one Part 2 novel after another. I was keen to stick a knife in his guts. And so, 20 years ago, I did. Of course, I didn't want to disappoint my fans, so I let him solve case after case. But at least I was certain that he'd never escape me, that in the end, I would get him.
I understand. Let's just hope that this novel remains unpublished for many more years. Did Miss Miller cope with all the excitement?
I think so. But what happened on the train was quite a shock for her. She wouldn't be able to go on if something happened to Matthew.
She's worried about him.
He's all she has. It breaks her heart that he lives at a boarding school and can't always be with her. But she sets her wishes and needs aside so that he can get a good education. That's her way.
Así es una madre. Padre de Matthew. ¿Sabes algo del padre de Matthew?
Where is Matthew's father?
Gone. Run off. Ran away from his problems again. He drank a lot. More and more after each setback. It's better for both of them this way.
He left her.
She couldn't have borne it. She loved him and wanted to stick by him. She fell out with her family over him. They couldn't understand her. And when he left her, the ground opened up beneath her feet. For 2 weeks, she was as good as dead. If she didn't have Matthew, she'd be dead.
You seem to know a lot about it. I mean, about the time before Miss Miller began working for you.
I have my reasons.
And Matthew? Do you care as deeply about the children of your other employees?
If you fail with your own child, you hope to do better with others, Constable.
Yo creo que... Quiero creer que ella es la abuela de Matthew. Porque eso explicaría por qué quiso ayudarla. Seguro su hijo se escapó con ella, pero por huir o qué sé yo, pero él la abandonó y ella se siente responsable, o sea, digo yo, que tiene sentido.
And the idea to send Matt to a boarding school
was mine. Matthew idolized his father and blamed his mother for the fact that he wasn't around anymore. I was afraid the situation would escalate if he had to live on a country estate alone with his mother and some old people.
Sí.
I think I was right. He quickly made friends at boarding school. He's popular, well-liked, a real athlete according to his teachers, and his relationship with his mother has improved as well. He's headed in the right direction.
Qué bueno.
How is the questioning going?
Are you implying that I'm an eavesdropper? The inspector is placing a lot of pressure on our dear Mr. Kreutzer. He's the only one who was on the train and who doesn't have an alibi for last night.
Perhaps. But him? A murderer?
I know people like him. He doesn't have enough backbone to kill someone in cold blood and remain so calm. He'd turn it into a drama and then a farce, drink himself insensible, and then, railing at fate, pitch himself into the sea. Forget him. Legrand is wasting his time. Mr. Kreutzer just happens to be a perfect fit for the inspector's image of the Raven.
Athletic, cultured, moves among the rich and famous.
I'll eat his violin if he's the Raven or the murderer.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course.
Claro.
Mr. Kreutzer clearly feels uneasy. But does Legrand actually think he's the Raven?
No, él solo quiere buscar a un chivo expiatorio.
Mr. Kreutzer clearly feels... Legrand is absorbed. He still seems pretty annoyed. The violinist seems...
Bueno, ¿y ahora?
I'm sure Captain DeConti wouldn't mind it. Legrand will attend to the... I won't talk to him again until I'm ready to present the murder.
Tenemos que descubrir quién es el asesino, ¿en serio? Espérate. ¿Y esto? A ver. Café.
Excellent.
Vamos. Café del bueno. Energy.
That's just what I needed.
Pero no toma mucho, puede ser malo para el corazón.
Coffee is not bad at all, but one cup is...
Coger algo de comer.
Whatever Constable Oliver wants, he's getting ham and eggs.
Ah, sí, para él.
And just a pinch of salt for our friendly constable.
Claro, le va a dar sed. Y como no tiene agua, por eso teníamos que destruir el... Ah, ahora sí. Le va a dar una sed tan fuerte que tendrá que irse. A ver, vamos a hacer teletransportación hacia allá. Perfecto. Y ahora sí podemos ver...
Constable Oliver. Huh? Ham and eggs, piping hot.
Oh, I shouldn't really.
I don't see anyone here who'd rebuke you. It was a hard night.
Yeah, true. Oh, delicious. Just enough salt. Oh, that was good of you. Cheers.
You don't expect me to wash your dirty dishes as well, do you?
Oh, of course not, Your Majesty.
No hay agua.
Could you bring me something to drink? Those ham and eggs were pretty salty.
I'm sorry. I have to proceed with my investigations. Goodbye.
Lo dejamos solo, le va a dar una sed del caray y tendrá que irse.
Let's see how long he can resist his thirst.
A ver. Ahora.
Not long at all.
A ver. Esperemos que el polizón nos dé la pista que necesitamos para descubrir quién es el asesino de una vez por todas. ¿Fuiste tú que nos atacó?
Nervous? I would be too in your position.
¿Quién es?
Who are you?
My name is Adil. And you are...
Constable Zellner. Why did you sneak onto the ship, Adil?
I wanted to go back home.
You're Egyptian?
There's no work for me in Italy. I want to see my family again.
And since you don't have money, you stowed away.
So what if I did?
It's hard for me to believe a single word of your story.
Because I'm a foreigner?
Because you seem to have learned our language in the space of a day. Accent-free.
Believe what you want.
El acento.
So, it was you who knocked me out.
Me? Never.
No? Where were you when I was attacked?
Well, I couldn't take anything with me on this trip, so I snuck into the kitchen and took some canned goods.
Interesting. And how do you know when I was attacked?
Well, I thought it was yesterday, shortly before we set sail.
I take this bump personally.
Es que todo indica que fue el que me golpeó, pero puede ser que el asesino vino por ahí y lo que dijo.
What were you searching for on deck last night?
I was hiding the whole evening. I wanted to go out and get some fresh air, see the stars. But then suddenly, they were looking for me.
Were you in one of the cabins?
No!
Did you see anyone on the deck or on the roof?
No.
And after we arrested you?
The English policeman put me in this cell. Then he left. I've been here ever since.
And you didn't notice anything along the way?
No, nothing.
What about the gunshot? Didn't you hear it?
Yes. The English policeman had already arrested me. We heard a bang and looked around.
And then?
Then, the Bobby was in a hurry to get rid of me. He almost pushed me down the stairs and locked me in here. He left, and then a short time later, the alarm went off.
Constable Oliver wasn't with you anymore when the alarm went off?
No. I was scared that the ship would sink with me sitting here like a rat in a trap.
Entonces, hay otra posibilidad de que Oliver fue el que sonó la alarma. ¿Pero por qué?
Who paid you to distract us?
What?
You went for a walk around the deck and let yourself be seen. Everyone goes off hunting you, and in the meantime, your partner shoots the Baroness in peace.
No, I didn't do anything. I didn't want to distract anyone. I just want to go home.
You're a liar, and a bad one at that.
But sir, I'm telling the truth.
And I'm the Raven. Inspector Legrand will deal with you. He's lying like a cheap rug. But he probably doesn't know anything about the murder. Very disappointing. So I have to keep searching. What interests me most is the shot that was fired here in the cargo hold last night.
Necesitamos la bala. A ver. Polizón, polizón, polizón. El polizón asegura llamarse a Dean y por supuesto dice que no me atacó y que no sería capaz de hacerme daño ni a una mosca. Miente como un bellaco, pero miente porque solo quiere irse a casa, como asegura, quiere traernos. A ver.
Whoever fired the shot hit the crate. Did the shooter just want to intimidate me? Or maybe he needed the bullet?
Y si disparó, cogió la bala. Claro, porque prácticamente hay 3 disparos. O sea, hay 2 disparos, este y a la baronesa. Pero, ¿y si en realidad hizo este disparo? Cogió la bala, usó la bala para matar, la misma bala para matar a la baronesa en secreto y disparó para atraer a la gente.
Can't see anything. If the bullet is still stuck in the wood, it's too deep. No, the bullet hole.
Tiene que haber algo aquí.
The cargo hold also seems to serve as a chain, at least for the ones who don't wear white uniforms. A stroke of luck. The lock is open.
Sí, recuerda que
Oil-stained overalls. And here, an old toolbox.
Perfecto.
It's been through a lot. Hardly any paint, dented, and the lid is held shut by a wire.
Cable.
I'll take it with me.
Con eso podemos abrir la habitación de Legrand.
Some wrenches, a bit of wire wool, an oily cloth, and here, a screwdriver.
Claro, con el tornillo podemos sacar la bala. Con el trapo. Ah, no.
I've got the screwdriver.
Ok. Entonces lo que podemos hacer es...
A well-used screwdriver from the tool. can't see anything. If the bullet is still stuck in the wood, it's too...
Venga, vamos a ver.
Well, I think the bullet is still in the wood.
Okay.
I'm not a weapons specialist, but at first sight I'd say that this bullet looks exactly the same as the one Dr. Gebhardt gave me for Legrand. That would mean that the murderer also fired a shot here in the cargo hold before the murder. But why?
Es verdad, ¿por qué?
Did they just want to make sure the old guns still worked? Or was it something else? And did the bullet really come from the same gun? I can only check that in Legrand's cabin.
Ahora tenemos que ir con... Yo quiero creer que el asesino nos encerró, pero vio al polizón que se escapó y le disparó, y entonces aprovechó para matar a la condesa y aprovechó que él estaba escondido para matar.
The young man is lying.
Creo que tenemos que irnos, pero vamos a ver si encontramos algo más.
Somebody put the trunk back on the shelf. I can't tell whether it was our young friend or someone else. It must be uncomfortable traveling like that, even if you're as young.
Sí. Bueno, lo cogió en la silla ya.
I could take one of the saws with me as a souvenir. On the other hand, it'd remind me of my bump and of my rather...
Parece que no hay nada más. A ver, ya tenemos lo que necesitamos. Tenemos el cable para poder entrar al laboratorio. Podemos analizar. Tenemos el rollo que no pudimos reproducir, así que... ¡Oh, rayos!
That takes the biscuit.
I noticed that the door was unguarded. I just wanted to make sure that everything was all right.
Tell it to Legrand. He's expressly forbidden anyone to speak to the witness before he does.
No sé.
All right, let's go to Legrand and tell him what happened. You fell asleep and then you left the door unguarded. Well, are we going?
No, but don't try it again.
Of course not.
Claro que no, no, no. Ay, 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 querido, ay, querido. Por fin nos estamos llevando bien con... Se me olvidó el nombre. Bueno, ahora hay que ver... ¿Qué podemos descubrir ahora? Podríamos entrar a la zona médica para ver las pruebas del doctor, porque como que se quedó medio... Nuestra misión es descubrir el asesino y para eso necesitamos el laboratorio. A ver. Haz tu magia, querido amigo.
The lock isn't especially secure. I should be able to open it.
A ver. Es que eso no es un cable, eso es un pedazo de alambre. What? Ah. A ver. Espérate. ¿Y esto ahora? Uno, dos. Ok. Ah, ya. este es el último. No. Un poquito más. Y esto de momento aquí, este puzzle así. Un poquito más. Poquito más. Necesita más que el otro, claro. Perfecto. Tres. Dos más. Creo que el otro, si le doy 7, está bien. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A ver. Por 1. Un poquito más. Creo que está bien. Perfecto. Yo creo que con unas 1, 2, 3, 4. Se te falta más. Ay, estamos aprendiendo cómo abrir cerraduras. Madre mía. Perfecto. Interesante puzzle, ¿eh? No era difícil, solamente es saber la altura exacta.
There we go.
Oh. Vámonos. A ver.
A lock master and son. Tough to crack. If I wanted to steal the eye, I'd concentrate on getting the 3 keys.
O distraer a todo el mundo con un asesinato para poder abrir la caja.
If everything goes according to plan, the first time, fingers crossed. Neatly folded, and Legrand hasn't slept since we cast off, nor on the train.
Pobrecito.
Legrand must have taken and developed the photos himself. He even made copies and enlargements. He seems to be prepared for everything, with access to more resources than a normal detective. Another alarm. It was tripped at some point, but there's no way to determine when.
No creo que Legrand haya activado la alarma. No, es que no tiene sentido.
Smells like chemicals. Legrand probably developed the photos in here. There are still fragments of the syringe that the inspector broke in the sink. Why is he pushing himself like this? Even if he catches the Raven, is it worth ruining his career and his health?
La obsesión es obsesión, querido.
Legrand must have taken them yesterday at the crime scene.
A ver, ¿qué tenemos aquí? La foto.
Yes, that's how we found her yesterday. I think. I wasn't really myself at the time.
Sí, fue así como lo encontré.
No.
Él tiene foto de la escena cuando fuimos. Tal vez
Yes. The bed, The blood spot? The spot on the sheet is much bigger than the one on the mattress. There's blood on the blanket as well. A lot of blood, I'd say. The blanket and the sheet are gone. I guess they're in the medical center. A rough diagram of the ship. Legrand marked the Baroness's cabin. Seems like he didn't turn up anything else of note. Shot in her sleep. She didn't feel a thing. She went to sleep and never woke up.
Es una muerte tranquila, eso es lo importante.
This photo provides an overview of the crime scene.
Ya, eso es todo.
A masterpiece. Forensic teams use kits like these. They're placing increasing importance on the preservation of evidence. But not in Switzerland yet. It's a small lab used to conduct simple analysis on site. All right, what have we got here?
A ver. Uy, 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 uy.
Half of the tools in this box would be interesting for an archaeologist as well. Actually, forensics and archaeology are really quite similar to each other. The goal is to find out what happened, whether a few hours ago or a few centuries ago.
Interesante. Sigo haciendo directo, ¿verdad? Déjame ver si tengo hace varias horas. Pero un momento. A ver, ya son las 5, tengo un rato a irme. Sí, sigo haciendo directo. Ok. A ver.
For forensics in the woods or the open country, I suppose. No use on a ship. I'm sure Legrand could work magic in this alchemist lab. Me, I'm just awestruck.
Con eso podemos hacer algo. Guante de goma.
Fingerprints are overrated. Smart thieves wear gloves, or they make sure that there are too many fingerprints at the crime scene to check them all.
Si voy a guardar las huellas del violinista, tal vez me puede ayudar mucho.
Good Lord. Good Lord. A small glass bowl for mixing chemical.
Manual.
Aha. This is some kind of inventory list. For each chemical, it lists the chemical composition and a short comment on how to use it. And here's a list of the most important procedures. Fingerprints, gunshot residue, blood. I don't have to analyze the pillow and feathers to determine whether there's gunshot residue. I can smell it. And I don't have any other clues at the moment.
Necesito...
What's this? Oh, how practical. A hermetically sealed cotton swab for collecting samples.
Con eso puedo
I'll
coger
take
agua.
it.
Sí, ya. Ahora con esto puedo coger la sangre y analizarla. O podríamos analizar la almohadilla. Bueno, estaba bebiendo el tipo. Madre mía, Señor de Dios.
There's nothing written on the bottle. I suppose it's some sort of stimulant, legal or not. Legrand has been awake for at least 30 hours straight, maybe more.
Necesita algo.
I shudder to think what kind of side effects a policeman on a murder investigation should have his work. The risk that he could miss evidence or endanger himself and others is too high.
Claro.
Legrand's file on the Raven, centimeters thick but totally useless. We're not dealing with the Raven. Why can't he see that? Our man is ruthless, a bomber, and quite probably a murderer. This is the pipe from the cargo hold. Legrand seems to have inspected it for fingerprints. I can still make out the powder.
No lo ha analizado.
No. Nothing to see on the end of the pipe that the attacker held. Either he wore gloves or he cleaned the pipe.
No, yo creo que usó guantes. Wow.
This file belongs in a museum. The inspector should concentrate.
Coge la bala.
That's the bullet the doctor removed from the Baroness's corpse.
Ahora puedo usar el microscopio.
A microscope. Looks like the one that Lutz Reichinger uses in his pharmacy, just more modern. There's nothing on the slide, and therefore nothing to see. All right.
A ver. De la bala de la baronesa. A ver si es la misma que la que tenemos. A ver.
I need the second bullet for a comparison.
Ok. Vamos a ver.
Okay.
Mirar por el... Ya, sí. Ah, tenemos que compararla, ¿ves? Yo creo que es...
That's the proof. Whoever shot the Baroness also fired the shot in the cargo hold. What could that mean?
Que quien nos detuvo fue quien nos disparó. ¿Quién fue el que mató a la baronesa? Porque tenía la pistola. Ahora necesito el bastoncillo. Ahora buscar la sangre. ¿Tengo el cuaderno? No.
A well-used screwdriver.
Vámonos. Ahora hay que subir, buscar la muestra de sangre. Pero tengo el cilindro. A ver. Podría entrar también aquí. No, pero aquí gasté el cable. Rayos.
Dr. Gebhardt locked the door, and until something...
Ok. Debemos dejar que el doctor descanse hasta que encontremos una forma de... una razón de peso. Claro, él podía analizar la sangre con nosotros. A ver. 5 segundos de carga no es exactamente bien. Según empecé tarda más. Ahora sí.
I always wanted to do that. That should be enough.
Yes. tenemos todos los personajes. O sea, Lucien, el violinista, no puede ser porque es el más obvio. Y yo, aunque parezca, yo le creo al polizón, que no lo mató, pero que tiene que algo que ver. Sabemos que el médico posiblemente fue que nos envenenó, durmió a la baronesa y a nosotros indirectamente. Podría ser que le fue activo la alarma. No, es que no tiene sentido. Él estaba con nosotros, o sea, no.
I don't think I can analyze the sample optically.
¿Y qué?
There were singed feathers under the Baroness's bed, and in a vase, a small glass bowl.
¿Y cómo analizó la sangre?
Wasn't there something about blood samples? Fingerprints,
Sí, sangre.
gunshot residue, blood. Well, it explains how to confirm that something is blood. That's a start. You have to mix luminol and a hydrogen peroxide solution and then drip or spray the mixture on the blood. The solution turns blue and glows even if there's just a very small amount of blood. Okay then. Luminol and hydrogen peroxide. Aha! Luminol.
Ah, está fácil, qué bueno.
And there's the hydrogen peroxide. I'll mix it with the luminol in the bowl.
Perfecto, como dice.
Okay. I can detect blood with this mixture. The clear solution turns blue if it comes into contact with blood.
Entonces, a ver si lo que es sangre y si no es sangre, entonces.
So, let's see what we have here. No blood.
Sangre?
Not the slightest reaction.
A ver.
If I didn't make a mistake, and it wasn't that difficult, then the spot on the Baroness's bed isn't really blood. But if it isn't blood, what is it? And more importantly, why didn't Dr. Gebhardt notice anything? He was supposed to have examined everything. I'd say it's time to visit the medical center.
¿Y si no hay ningún asesinato? ¿Y si el médico es el único que aseguró que ella había muerto? ¿Y si la baronesa no está muerta, sino que es un plan de ella o del médico para atrapar al cuervo o algo así? Claro, porque ella se desmayó de la nada y como que actuaba. Ahora sí.
It seems impossible that Dr. Gebhardt could have shot the Baroness. He was with me when the gunshot ran out. But he must have noticed that the Baroness was lying in a pool of fake blood. Maybe he's covering for someone. Let's find out.
Vamos. Vamos, amiguito. Haz tu magia. Ahora creí que la baronesa está viva. Eso sería increíble.
It's probably for emergencies, in case a passenger falls down and can't walk anymore. Possibly due to rough seas, or maybe the captain's well-stocked bar. The sink looks like it's been cleaned recently. I can't say whether it was cleaned to comply with the hygiene regulations, or whether there was another reason.
O borrar pruebas. A ver.
Dr. Gebhardt was only recently hired. but the medical center would already have been fully equipped.
Sí. Vamos a registrar el cajón, a ver, ¿qué tenemos?
Interesting. A tape on a reel. The reel belongs to a much better player, like the one from the Baroness's cabin.
¿Qué hace
I
con
can't be
eso?
certain that this is the reel that was missing from the Baroness's cabin, but it seems quite likely.
¿Qué hace él con eso?
Okay.
Bien.
Nothing. Strange. There.
El disparo.
Very interesting.
¡Ajá! Entonces el disparo que oímos no era un disparo de verdad. Interesante, o sea, todo indica que el doctor fue que mató a la baronesa, o por lo menos yo creo que la baronesa está viva o está muerta. El caso es que él fue el que nos detuvo, digo yo. Sabía que había un polizón, disparó, entonces aprovechó que durmió la baronesa y en el momento fue y la mató con el cojín para que nadie se diera cuenta. Entonces volvió para hacer su coartada. El doctor es el asesino.
A shot is audible on the tape, and the reel comes from the Baroness's cabin.
Claro.
It's all coming into focus.
Claro. A ver.
I guess the trash bin is in here.
A ver.
Right. Paper
Bien.
towels, plastic packaging, cartons, and... Hold on.
Unas pinzas. Ah. Guantes.
What's this? A burst rubber glove. It's knotted, and there's a red liquid all over the inside that looks like blood. I bet good money that it's the same fake blood I found in the Baroness's cabin.
Claro, cogió eso, lo embarró a la baronesa.
Dr. Gebhardt will have trouble explaining how rubber gloves full of fake blood got into his trash bin. First, the fake blood he missed in the Baroness's cabin, and now this. It doesn't look good for you, Doctor.
Está en problemas.
That's proof enough for me that the doctor isn't... I should report it to...
Perfecto. Bueno,
Time to pay Legrand a visit.
vamos, ya, por fin. What?
No.
Oh, no.
No, don't.
Rayos. 15.000 puntos, Espérate. Ganaste un trofeo, Mateo Detective Episodio 1. Este ha sido el primer episodio, Secreto resuelvo 12. Función de pista usada una vez. Perdimos 100, resultado de punto clave usado 10. Puntos de aventura. No está mal. Continuar partida. Ahí hemos acabado el primer capítulo. Claro, lo que veíamos de capítulo. Vamos. Bueno, gente, creo que sería un buen momento para dejar el juego porque ya tenemos casi 4 horas. Pero vamos a dejar esta cinemática y ya, o sea.
Why couldn't you just leave it be? Let me go. Why are you doing this to me? You and the Baroness.
¿Cómo que la baronesa?
Dr. Gebhardt, I don't know. Don't you understand what you are forcing me to do? You don't have to.
Ya entiendo por qué. Ya tengo una teoría. A ver. De por qué ella.
It is almost over. You won't feel a thing. I am sorry you have to see all this. I should have used more chloroform.
perdón, vamos a dejar esto por el día de hoy. Vamos a crear una nueva partida. A ver. Perfecto, está guardado. Ok, ya es tarde para mí. Pero bueno. Bueno, gente, vamos a dejar este directo de hoy, que parece que hemos avanzado poco, pero que estoy mega cansado ya, casi 4 horas de jugar este juego, y son el capítulo 1, y se ha pasado muchas cosas. Hemos descubierto quién es el asesino de la baronesa, que es el doctor. De un principio no me caía el doctor, pero de ahí que es un asesino. Ya tengo una teoría de por qué, creo que por qué la mató. Porque recuerden que cuando subimos al barco, la baronesa vio a alguien y se desmayó y dijo que era un asesino. Y creo que es el doctor. Puede ser que el doctor en la guerra hizo cosas, mató a la familia de la baronesa, no sé. Y él se dio cuenta y entonces tuvo que crear todo esto para poder matar sin que se dé cuenta, pero nosotros nos dimos cuenta y ahora no va a ser lo mismo. Así que muchas gracias, gente, por estar aquí. Quien vea esto en diferido, gracias. Comenten si está algo bueno, algo mal de la serie. Yo me voy a ir, tengo que salir, tengo que hacer cosas de adulto y mañana lunes no prometo si continúo, pero es que la aventura está muy interesante. Tal vez cuando venga pueda jugar una horita más, pero bueno. The Raven, The Master está muy interesante, así que muchas gracias a todos y hasta pronto.